It's time for the Miller's Edge with four-time SEC champion and two-time national champion Christian Miller.
Once again with Christian Miller taking him down.
Here's college football playoff national champion Christian Miller on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
And welcome into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store. America's Art Sport Experts. Hope everybody's doing great. Hope you guys are ready to roll on this Talking Tuesday. You guys already know what that means. Talking Tuesday means, well, we do what we always do. We're going to be talking, but we'll be talking with some folks. Slade Bolden at 11:30. We'll get him here on the show. He typically joins via the stream, so if you guys want to watch Slade and I chop it up, talk a little Alabama football, a couple other things that are going on in the football world, well, you can always listen to us via Tide 100.9 with us radio or 1230 WTBC, also radio, or the Tide 100.9 app on your smartphone, tablet, iPad, whatever device that you use. Or if you'd rather watch us do the show, you can always join us on the YouTube or Facebook streams at The Miller's Edge on YouTube, at Tide 100.9 on Facebook, where we typically hang out and do the show for you guys weekdays 11 to 1. That said, we also will be joined by Clint Lamb of Cover Crimson at the top of the hour, like we do every Tuesday as well. We'll get Clint's thoughts on this upcoming Oklahoma game. We'll talk a lot more about it. I know we kept saying that over the past couple of days. We've had plenty of time, right? I mean, we're going on, 2 weeks of knowing this game is going to happen. So now we'll start diving into it like we typically do. One day early, again, the game is this Friday, 7 o'clock Central Time. So we're approaching it. We'll talk about it, probably pull up some tape. Probably go back a little bit to the most recent matchup between these teams, which was about a month ago, right, Chase? It wasn't that long ago. Kind of look at what went well, what didn't go so well, and what we need to do moving forward to have success in this game. Because, again, it's that time of the year, guys. It's one and done, right, or one or done, or however you want to word it. You lose, you go home. Yeah, win or go home. I guess that's the best way to put it. So we'll chop it up with Slade at 11:30, Clint Lamb at 12. Plus, we'll take your calls, 205-342-9904. Love to get y'all's thoughts on everything going on, not just with this game. We'll talk a lot about that, but definitely some other news traveling around the college football world. We mentioned it late in the show yesterday, and I remember I stayed after on the stream a little bit, and I know we talked about it briefly, so I don't even know if we really talked about it on air, but definitely some big news regarding a former Alabama coach who a lot of people like to bring his name up typically every year, wondering if he'll ever circle back. Well, that possibility probably just became probably a little more real than it's ever been. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but we'll talk about that here in a minute and who that is, right, that we're referring to with that as well. We got some transfer portal news that we'll dive into, some updates there. I'm sure you guys will be excited to hear that Alabama's already making some moves via the portal. So we'll discuss that, who that is, and what their role might be, and a number of other things throughout this Talking Tuesday. But first, let me remind you about our friends over at the Good Feet Store. Try before you buy, nothing to lose. Make sure you guys go check them out right now. Good Feet, the Good Feet Store located right here in Midtown Village in Tuscaloosa off McFarland Boulevard. You can't miss it. Walk-ins are welcome, or you can always go to their website, goodfeet.com, schedule an appointment, find the nearest location. They are nationwide. I'm telling you, these things are game changers, as simple as putting these art sports in your shoes, boots, whatever it is that you wear on your feet, and they will get to work, clinically proven to do so in just 4 short weeks. So make sure you guys check them out. I promise you, these things are game changers if you deal with any type of pain, foot pain, knee pain, back pain, waking up stiff, being on your feet, has you just not feeling right, you're out of whack. I'm telling you, you got to try these art sports. They're not your typical ones that you might see at CVS or Walgreens. These things are clinically proven and like the real deal. So make sure you guys check them out. Again, that is the Good Feet Store, improving the quality of people's lives 2 feet at a time. Chase, I'll be honest with you, man. I'm getting fired up for this matchup. I know we have some press conferences that we need to get to. A lot of good things being said. Everybody's going to try to win the press conferences, right? And there's a lot of media to get to, so we'll also play that as much as we can. You had head coach Kalen DeBoer speak to the media yesterday. He doubled down on his plans, right, on if he will be here in Tuscaloosa coaching this Alabama football team as early as next season or not. That was one of the first, if not the first question that he was asked during his media availability. He did a press conference yesterday for this matchup, so we need to go back and listen to that. But he made it clear. He hasn't talked to anybody, doesn't plan on talking to anybody, so he doubled down on it. Just for anybody that still had some concerns, some worries, some doubts. Maybe the statement he put out wasn't enough. They wanted to hear it from his mouth. Exactly. So he went ahead and assured fans he plans on being here. He wants to be here. His family's happy. He had to throw that in there because people speculate that might not be the case. So we'll listen to that here in a minute. Brent Venables also spoke to the media. I know Ty Simpson, Deontay Lawson, and others have as well. So we'll listen to them. And I know Ryan Grubb and Kane Womack are scheduled to speak to the media. But again, with the new updated schedule that they're on right now, that happens around 1 o'clock. So we will have to always be a day late. So we'll listen to those the next day. So just a heads up in terms of those things. But hey, Chase, I'll say this: that the press conference, man, typically he's only about like 10 minutes or so we can play the whole thing. I think it might have been like 20 something plus. So if you have the time, Chase, maybe I might see if you don't mind cutting up just maybe some main points while we have some of our guests on. That way, hour number 2, we can just play some of the main pieces. I don't know exactly what just yet, but if you can, that would be cool. If not, no worries. We'll skip through it the best that we can, and we'll roll from there. But again, we got guests 11:30 and 12. So if you guys do want to get on the phone lines, let me just be clear, it might be a little minute. Unless you jump on right now, we got a window real quick if you guys want to hurry up and hop on before we get Slade on here. If not, probably would suggest you wait till hour number 2 once we finish talking to Clint. That way you guys aren't just sitting on the phone lines way too long. So I just wanted to give you guys a heads up with that. That being said, let's hit our first time out. Let's do it. Let's jump into it. Let's hit our first time out. When we come back, we'll dive into it. Talk a little about this coaching news that's going around right now. Then we'll dive into some Oklahoma, Alabama talk, get you guys ready for this playoff matchup taking place in Norman, Oklahoma this Friday, 7 p.m. Central Time kick. We'll do that right here on the Miller's Edge Tide, 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Quick timeout. I'll be right back.
At Tuscaloosa Mazda, they are expanding their show.
What's up, guys? I see we got Dom in here early already with the 199 super chat. Appreciate that, Dom. He says, hit that like as you enter. Thank you. We got our like supervisor, Dom, on patrol. Always appreciate him and his efforts, man, trying to help get those likes up. And they've been going up. Dom and Phil and others, man, you guys have been crushing them. And the likes have literally, like, I think, doubled. They've doubled since you guys have been policing it. I don't want to say policing. That sounds like forcing it, but you get what I'm saying. Since you guys have been reminding folks. So appreciate you guys doing that, man. But yeah, Dom said he's still working on that content, but when he does, make sure you guys check it out. There it is, Dale Vengo. Wait, Phil, you also practicing Spanish too, or are you just messing around translating? I was about to say, we got to have a whole, probably have a handful of people that are learning Spanish too. But yeah, man, we got the Dale Tide hat on today. Jake, what's up? Phil, Dom, Arthur, what's up? What else we got in here? Let me scroll down here. Dwight, I see you. Kenji, J Moneyman, what's up? Bama just signed Robbie Oots type in the portal, 6'6", 265. Well, I guess you're talking about positionally like Robbie Oots. I was about to say Robbie Oots ain't no 6'6", man. He's like 6'2", 6'3". But you're probably talking about like a H-back type. Yeah, I'm going to get to that news. I hadn't had a chance to watch him yet, but maybe we can do that together here on the stream. Let me just I gotta turn this on real quick. Trying to get used to these new earbuds, man. A little bit different, but trying to get acclimated. I don't know why it's not like the feel, it's like the sound. The sound is different. Maybe I'm just being dramatic, but I swear the sound is different on there. Damn, yeah, you guys are killing the likes now, man. We're already at 10. That's what's up. Good deal, man. Joey, what's going on, man? I remember you said you wanted to help do something, man. I didn't forget about you. Was it the I think, what was it, like the promotional stuff? Is that what you do? I think like voiceover stuff. Hey, if you want to fool around and throw one together, man, send it my way. Let me know. So I remember you sent me an email. I looked at it. I got tied up, man. I forgot to follow back up with you. Josh Ford. Yeah, let me see. Does he have y'all seen any like highlights or anything of his? Like, y'all know where I can find him? I'm gonna look him up on YouTube real quick. Let's see. Josh Ford. It's a news article. Oh, he's got highlights on here. About a minute and 20. Wait, 2024. We can go back and watch it. It's from the Big 12. All right, we'll pull up his highlights here in a second. Let me pull up his numbers, though. Let's see. Josh Ford. Three receptions for 45 yards and a touchdown. Was he just like a backup there? Un poco. Ah, ok, mi esposa habla español. Damn, I thought we got a bunch of listeners that have like Latina wives, man. I thought there's a number of you guys that said that. Oh, my wife's like Hispanic. That's why I'm learning or know a little Spanish. It's cool, man. Okay, so Joey does a voiceover stuff. Yeah, man. If you want to fool around and make one or something, let me know. I'd definitely be glad to check it out. DJ Lagwell's in the portal. Yeah, but we're not going. I mean, only thing, Dom, is that ain't going to affect us, man. We got so many quarterbacks on our hands right now. I don't even know. Wouldn't even know what to do with it. I mean, Ty's probably considering coming back. You got Keelan, you got Austin Mack. Just signed 2 guys. Will be interesting to see where he goes, though. And I know you weren't saying he's going to come here. I'm just saying, like, for us, I don't know when the next time will be we'll really target a quarterback. We should be good for a few years, hopefully. Everything works out right. Wait, Dom too? Damn, all you guys? Bro, what is that with Yo, that's crazy. Yo, that's funny, man. Hey, well, listen, if any of you husbands out there trying to learn Spanish, man, I'll definitely help you guys out, man. I got some methods that'll help you out. And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Presented by the Good Feet Store, America's art support experts. All right, we got a number of things that we can talk about. Definitely going to talk about Alabama, Oklahoma, but I'm going to wait to do that till we talk with our guest. Slay will be on here in probably about 10 minutes or so. Then we got Clint Lamb at the top of the hour. So we'll talk about that plenty. But before we get there, I want to dive into a couple of those things I mentioned. Number one, the transfer portal, right? Because I'm feeling like that's probably what y'all want to talk about first. That is pretty fresh and pretty recent. Alabama, in fact, picks up a tight end from the transfer portal. Josh Ford has they worded as has signed. The transfer portal is technically not open yet. Maybe has something to do with the fact that their coach was fired, I guess, or I don't know. But the way it was worded is he's signed to Alabama, right? So we'll just go with that for now. I don't know if he's committed, signed, whatever the case is. Excuse me, but definitely an interesting pickup. You talk about this offense that we have. It definitely relies on tight ends. We see Cuevas and his success, right? How he's been a great contributor to this offense. The freshman, Caleb Edwards, you're seeing the action that he's getting him. Well, now you just signed another guy with some experience. Now, remember, we did sign a couple other guys from the portal earlier this year. Haven't seen too much of those players. I think one of them was from Troy. Where was the other one from? Maybe like West Virginia or something. Maybe I'm making that up. For some reason, I feel like that's the case. That said, we know this offense, typically likes to utilize their tight ends. So no shocker here that we end up going to get another one. Look, the guys you brought in that I just mentioned, I feel like those are more like depth pieces, kind of just bodies to have. And you got to remember with the changes with the scholarship numbers and things like that, you always are trying to work on depth, right? I haven't been able to dive into this guy just yet. I'm not too sure if he falls more in the Cuevas category where they're actually, expected him to contribute a little bit more. Or he's maybe just another body. I would imagine probably expected him to have a little bit more of a role. But again, I'm just speculating here. We got his highlights pulled up. I have not watched them yet. They're sitting here on YouTube, and I don't want to watch them while we're talking during the radio. I'll wait till we get to a break real quick. But I can tell you that limited action, or I guess limited production this season, based off of his stats at least. I think he had maybe 3 receptions for a total of 45 yards and 1 touchdown this season. But I can tell you, though, in terms of measurables, he's exactly what you're probably looking for in a tight end. And I would probably list his measurables as pretty elite, right? 6'6", 265. To me, that sounds, again, I have not watched him, but more in the core, Y type tight end. Because remember, you have two different types of tight ends, right? You got H-backs, right? U's. Those are the kind of more like the Robbie Oots, kind of off the ball. See them a little bit more in the backfield. And your tight end Y, that's going to be your dominant blocker. He's going to be in the C area. They can be, good pass catchers, but typically, I mean, they're known for their physicality in the run game, their ability to block. But hopefully he can do a little bit of both, because this offense does allow guys to, have passing opportunities and make plays in the passing game. So I'll watch his tape here in a second, and I'll give you more thoughts on that. But I want to at least throw it out there just so you guys knew, because, again, this was posted 10/16, right? So literally just an hour ago. So very fresh. So that's one of Alabama's early portal additions. Now, we'll have to see where they go after this. I'm very curious how we address the portal. We've heard from Courtney Morgan. He talks about their philosophy, right? They're going to lean heavy into roster retention, into the recruiting process, developing their players, which I like. I appreciate that about us. I mean, that's how it's always been. I know we're moving towards a world where portal is important. You see teams, they get all this money. They go out and get Florida State, for example. It's like a roster reconstruction, and it's a completely different roster. None of those guys have played together before. You got to respect it when teams are trying to do it the way we're doing it here at Alabama. That said, you still will need some portal additions, right? It's inevitable. So it's important that you're able to address those needs. And, Coach Saban always described it, portal and transfer and all that stuff. It should be to address positions that you need a plug-and-play guy right now. So I'd imagine they view their tight end roster. Cuevas is gone, but you got Caleb Edwards. I know they've got Pritch and some other guys, but if you go sign a guy like this, I'd imagine I wouldn't say they're not necessarily – I don't know how you put this, Chase, without saying like, oh, they don't trust the guys that they have, but they clearly probably have a sense that, hey, we want to have a reliable guy that has experience for this upcoming season, knowing that we're about to lose one of our better tight ends in Josh Cuevas, right? He's been a huge contributor for this team. So it makes sense. We'll watch tape and learn a little bit more about him in a minute. But that leads me to one of my first questions that I have for you guys on this Talking Tuesday before we dive into some more Oklahoma talk. In terms of portal additions and who we are addressing in the portal. I see QD's talking about this in the chat. What do you guys feel that Alabama needs to address via the transfer portal? I can tell you off the top of my head, I'm going to think about it a little bit more, but off the top of my head, Chase, there's one position that I think definitely needs to be addressed via the transfer portal, and it's on the defensive side of things. It's the linebacker position. You're losing all three linebackers. Deontay Lawson's gone. Justin Jefferson, he had an extra year to come back, so he's definitely gone. Then Nikai Hill-Green, we had him on the show last week. Shout out to Nikai Hill-Green. He told us on the show, this was what? I thought it was his third stop. I think he said fourth. So, unfortunately, he's out of eligibility, and I hate that because I feel like he's really just getting going here. I would have loved to have him another year because I love the way he plays the linebacker position. That said, all three contributing linebackers are gone this season. I know you guys are like, well, we got QB Reese and we got some of these younger players, and that's great. But the linebacker position, man, yes, I think we'll rely on at least one, maybe even two of those guys for sure. But you always want to have a little bit of a veteran presence, and that room is going to be so young next year. So young. None of those guys would have true – QB Reese would probably be the only one, and that's with the limited experience that he got this year. I think without a doubt, Chase, you got to at least get one veteran inside backer. That's that to me. I think I would bet money on it, guys, that we will, without a doubt, sign a transfer portal linebacker. Shay, should we make a little friendly wager on that? I'm so certain. If we don't, I would be beyond shocked. I will be beyond shocked. So we'll have to see on that. So hopefully we do that because I think that'll be huge for our defense. Really important. In terms of other positions, let me just think real quick because I want to get y'all's thoughts on this, but I'm trying to think real quick. Chase, you can think about it too. Try to think of who's leaving. On the back end, I feel like you've got a number of guys. I feel like we just transfer portal guy. Matter of fact, we didn't mention this. Tuscaloosa native, I'm forgetting his name, but he's like 6'2", 190. I saw that we just signed him. But if you look at it, Bray potentially coming back. I know he's got the eligibility. I think he's just going to have to make that decision. Keon Sabb, is he out of eligibility? Chase, chat, do you guys know? I'm not 100% sure, but I want to say I want to say he may have an extra year, maybe not. I don't know. But outside of that, I want to say Damani still has another year of eligibility. What I'm getting at is I think all the secondary guys technically could come back, if I'm not mistaken. And then you got to think about the young guys that you have behind them, right? I mean, we had Nakai talk to us about some of those young players. Ivan Taylor, he mentioned him. A lot of people excited about him. You already know Dijon Lee's right there, and he's playing heavily right now. I would list him as like a co-starter, Xavier Brown. And then if Damani comes back or whatever goes, I mean, you're good at corner right now. Red Morgan, who's really come along. He's a young guy. He's coming back. So really, I think Sab is gone. He's a senior. Thank you, Sam. So I think he's really the definite one. And then is Damani a senior too? Okay, thank you, Wiggins. All right. For some reason, I thought they might have had one more year. If not, listen, I hate to say it like this, but at corner, I mean, with Damani leaving, you've seen kind of Dijon Lee kind of take over that other spot. I mean, I think we can agree that I think he'll be okay right there. Then Sab being a senior, you're losing him. But then you look behind him, and hopefully Bray makes a decision. And I think Bray could come back for sure. We'll have to see. I'm sure he'll get, depending on how the grades come in, it'll be interesting to see how he's graded. But I don't know. Chase, is anything? I know I focus heavy on the defense. While I think about offense, or any positions that you definitely feel like need to be addressed. D-line, I'm not going to lie to you. With LT leaving, I know you have a number of guys behind him, but Tim Keenan's gone. I know you'll have Beeman coming back. I've really been impressed with the young guy out of Mississippi. I'm London Simmons, man. He's been really impressive. James Smith will be back. Quay and Yanze both back. So I'll be honest with you. I mean, if you're going to, I definitely would probably consider a defensive tackle 100%. Probably an interior defensive tackle for sure, especially to help with depth. I feel like when Tim was hurt and the Beeman went down, I mean, having to rely on such youth, I think, one of those interior tackles like a nose would definitely be big, probably portal-wise. I think edge, you're looking like you're in good hands with Yanze, Justin Hill coming along. We've seen 24 get some action. I think that group's coming along. I feel better about them now than I did going into the season. Quay expected to come back. So, I think defensively, man, I think linebacker, we've seen, I guess, one DB, come in, but I think it's more of a depth thing. But then, like I said, linebacker, and I think like interior tackle, to me, would be big on defense. So offensively, without a doubt, offensive lineman, you can't have enough, especially in this day and age. We talked about it with the parity and whatnot. It's just like the NFL, man. Like offensive line is one of the toughest positions to find good quality players. It is. I mean, not just because, I mean, just think about it, Chase. I mean, it's always hard to find like bigger guys. Number one, just because, right? Big. Think about it, right? There's a lot more people that are just of normal size. So if you're talking about like skill guys, like you're gonna find buku guys that can run fast and do all that. But like big linemen, it's already a challenge. And then to find big guys that are athletic enough to also be able to do the things that they need to do, finding linemen is tough. So I would say Caden Proctor's gone. Brailsford has another year of eligibility, I believe. It gets so confusing, guys, because of the new redshirt rules. I don't know who played in only 4 games or not, but let's just anticipate. Chase, let's hit this timeout. When we come back, we can definitely look at offense, because I'm over here like, man, I don't know who is eligible and who's not, but I definitely would say offensive line, you never can go wrong with that. So you guys think about that. We're waiting for Slade. He'll be on here in a minute, and we'll talk with him Alabama to address via the transfer portal, and we'll start there. Then we definitely got to dive into this news regarding this coach that's potentially off the leash, man. That's how I word like that. And could we potentially see him making a return? We'll talk about that and more right here on the Miller's Edge after this quick timeout. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
Alabama football.
All right, see, this is why I just rely on you guys for all these points, man. All right, so Jaden Roberts is definitely out. Dang, I kind of feel bad, man. I feel bad for him, man, because if he's a redshirt senior, I hate it that, it hasn't gone as well for him. But the injuries really, I know a lot of people are wondering why he's not playing. Injuries really kind of derailed him, and I think sometimes what happens is when you're out and other guys are getting opportunities and they're showing what they can do, I mean, some things just happen, man. I hate that for him. Yeah, so Brailsford's a redshirt junior, so he can come back. I don't know. Brailsford's an interesting one, and here's why. He's a really good football player. I think I mean, if he decided to leave, I mean, I think he has potential to play, at the next level for sure. And I think he has a chance to get drafted well. But for some reason, man, he's like slept on. It's weird, man. He's a really good football player. That said, I know he when he first got here, he stepped away. He kind of was contemplating whether he was going to play or not, that whole deal. So I don't know if I see him being a fifth-year type guy. Only given, the situation where I think he kind of was, weighing his options at one point. But behind him, and then Vandermark should be gone too. So offensive line, man, I definitely would address that. Definitely would address some offensive linemen. Let's work out where we just talked about tight ends, so we can skip over that. Receivers. Chat's correct. Sab is a redshirt junior. Yeah, okay. That's what I thought. Thank you, guys. I was like, I think so, because somebody was telling me he could come back. It's Parker Small for an NFL lineman, absolutely. But you've seen guys. I mean, he reminds you of, I know a lot of people throw out this comparison, but it's true. Jason Kelce not being the biggest guy, but understanding his leverage, his ability to move well, especially in space. Whether it's pulling, climbing to the next level, right? I mean, you got to think about it. Like when you're climbing to those backers and whatnot, I mean, you got to be able to move, right? You can't be slow climbing up from combo blocks. And he just does a really nice job, even though he is undersized. So, yes, he is undersized for an NFL lineman, but, Jason Kelce was a very similar type player. And we all know what kind of career he had. So, I think Parker Brailsford will be fine. Dewberry's a senior, yeah. So, I mean, you got Proctor gone, Dewberry gone, potentially Brailsford gone. Roberts gone. And then, yeah, Hubbard most likely gone, but Sab coming back with Mincy starting at the other spot. The only thing I'll say about that is I think they like Mincy a little bit more closer to the ball in that role that they have him playing, like in dime. I don't know if I feel like with his size, I don't know if his athleticism would be a great spot. I mean, I know he can do it, but I almost wonder if like a guy like Ivan Taylor kind of. And don't forget about what's his name, that I know he's playing a little bit more like Husky type deal, but he also can play safety. Dre Kirkpatrick. Yeah. I almost feel like that. I feel like Mincy's a better fit being more of like that, almost like a dime linebacker type deal, because he's a bigger body guy. Need a receiver coach. Who's replacing Aaron Hodges? Oh, Lord. That's a funny dude, man. So I'm assuming you're being sarcastic with that. But the receiver coach, I don't know. I know they're talking about coach from Auburn. I think Nix. I think that would be a good addition. I know, he's an Auburn guy, but again, I don't think that stuff's that deep. I think he's a good football coach. He's got experience coaching running backs and wide receivers. So, hell, that can't be bad, right? Hell, he can coach the receivers as long as he knows what he's doing, with receiver technique. Sometimes I always wonder, like, hey, man, like, I know we're getting this guy because he's got experience, he can recruit, but is he able to develop? I feel like he's had plenty of experience coaching receivers enough, but if he also has a background with running backs, so I mean, it can't hurt with our issues. Maybe he can just, be an extra ear. We could use an experienced offensive tackle if there's one out there. I think right now this is how it looks next. Next year, without a doubt, right tackle you'll have Michael Carroll. I think left tackle they'll either work Jackson Lloyd will get a lot of looks there. Elias Allen, he's worked at tackle. They worked him back in at guard. I wouldn't be shocked if once that spot opens back up, they work him back at tackle just to kind of let him compete there because he has done it. Matter of fact, I think he was doing it as early as this past spring when Proctor was banged up. You hate how Nick talks? I ain't really heard him talk, I don't think. Well, I guess I did briefly, but I don't really remember what it was, if anything stood out. Isn't the DB coach going with Sheridan too? Wait, with Sheridan? You talking about Wait, you talking about what's his name, bro? I can't think of any names right now. Wait, matter of fact, let me text Slate. I just thought about that. Yeah, Shepard. I was like, wait, hold on, Sheridan. What DB coach? I don't think anybody was going to. Malcolm Simmons to Bama. Or y'all just wait? Y'all just like asking that, or y'all saying that? Isn't that the guy that went off against us? I mean, yeah, I was going to say half these rumors, guys. I don't know where this stuff comes from. Like even like people saying like the O line coach is fired, guys. They have not fired the O line coach. Like everybody ran with that. Notice how nobody's talking about that anymore, but everybody swore that was like. Now I'm not saying there couldn't be changes after the season, but I'm telling you guys, like as of right now, there is nobody's. Well, let me say he is not fired as we speak. Um, people just come up with stuff, man. I don't even know where half of it comes from. I mean, let's think about receiver though, guys. I mean, you got Ryan Horton's gone. Bernard's gone. So coming back, that I mean, I would say Brooks, Ryan, and then tall number 30. What's his name? Meadows. I mean, those are your three. I mean, I know you still got Cole Adams and Jalen Hale, guys that have played, but I almost wonder and Bakwe. I feel like probably at least two of those three are probably transferring. Does Horton have another year? Golly, man. I mean, you can't keep up with any of this stuff. Oh, yeah, Rico Scott, too. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I don't know if you necessarily need a receiver out of the portal, given the youth that you have for next season. I mean, maybe one. If you feel like just like that, veteran presence could be an addition. Somebody that can, come in and kind of just, what I mean, just add to that room a little bit. But Ty Simpson's broken every bone. Yeah, you would think so, right? What the hell just happened there? And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday. This is the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's art sport experts. Waiting to hear back from Slade, so I'll keep you guys posted on that. We definitely still have Clint at 12, so make sure you guys are tuned in for that, and we'll start talking a little more Alabama, Oklahoma at that point. But we're talking a little transfer portal right now. Let's see. All right, Slade had to push it back a little bit, so probably close around 12:30 when we get to him, which no worries. No big deal at all. Let's keep talking about this transfer portal while we got it pulled up. Thinking about the offense. Receiver-wise, we already said offensive line, definitely think you could address that via the portal. Getting some more, experience in there, veteran presence. I think if you look at it, Chase, right tackle, you feel good about Michael Carroll and what he's going to be, right? I know right now he's still a little young and he's playing solid for a freshman for sure. As a matter of fact, I think he got honored as a freshman All-American. Shout out to him and all the other guys. We hadn't really covered all those, and we probably need to catch back up on that, all the accolades going around. But Michael Carroll, expected to be a right tackle. Right guard, we've seen a number of guys there. Jaden Roberts should be gone. Vandemark, gone. Wilkin Formby's been working there as of recent. He still has eligibility, so I would expect going into next year, right? I mean, the right side, even though it had been an issue this season, hopefully it will be a little bit more of a strong point going into next season, given that those guys have some experience. Center will be interesting, though, because, the backup to Brailsford, who I would expect Brailsford, I wouldn't be shocked if he leaves. I think he does have an extra year if he wants it. I don't know if he stays. That said, his backup, at least that we saw, ended up being Vandermark, right? So he's gone. So they're going to have a battle at center, which is a very important position. So we need to really kind of pay attention to see how that works out. Left guard, we've seen Will Sanders get some action there, and I thought he's played well when he was there. So I would expect him to get some heavy looks and probably, compete with some of these younger guys that are on the roster. Then left tackle, that's the big one. I think Lloyd, seeing him work in person, I think he's going to be a good football player. I mean, for a bigger guy, he moves well. I think he's got a shot to compete for that left tackle spot, but I wouldn't be shocked if they address at least one spot, if not two, at the offensive line position via the transfer portal. And then, I guess, last but not least, well, not last, we'll skip over quarterbacks. We're not taking a quarterback in the portal. If anything, we're probably worried about losing one potentially given, I guess, depending on how that situation unfolds. So we'll skip that. Running back. Chase, would you say we need a running back via the portal? Jam's gone. The rest of the guys are still there. They hadn't really produced the way you would like. And then you just signed Crowell, who, looks to be a really good football player, at least at the high school level right now, and, expecting him to transition and be there. You still got young guys like A.K. Deere, who I think should be able to contribute much more going into next year versus now. With the struggles that we've seen in our running back room and our running game, I mean, do you feel like even though we got a lot of bodies there, maybe consider taking a talented experience back, or you think, you know what, we got a stable of them. Let's just hope and pray somebody steps up to the plate next season.
I would take an established back. We saw with the injury to Jam Miller just how much it depleted the running back room, and asking a lot of A.K. Deere and Daniel Hill to step up to the plate. And, they can, but I just feel like their time isn't right now. And just being able to have them develop and learn more behind an experienced back, like maybe I saw in the chat, someone had mentioned Ahmad Hardy, if he's still available, maybe kind of get towards him, or someone of high value that has produced and can be that number one back for Bama, because, Bama is known for backs. They've known for producing it. And I think it would help a lot with this offense for next year, especially with, you said it, with the offensive line, so many players, great players, like Caden Proctor and Parker Brailsford, who could potentially go to the NFL draft. So, you need running backs that can produce, because we're not, unless Ty comes back, it's going to be interesting between Austin Mack and Keelan Russell and how the offense looks. But being able to have a stable back that can get you a lot of carries, that can take care of the ball, and also be good in the pass blocking game, it's going to be huge for next year's offense.
It is, Chase. You threw out a big name, man. Ahmad Hardy. Hey, listen, hey, I'll say this. If Ahmad Hardy is available, or so, say whatever the case may be, listen, I know you got to stable those guys. I don't know if I would be mad if you just say, hey, to hell with it, man. We might lose one or two, but listen, you're talking about a guy that's rushed for 1,500 yards. And numbers aside, man, I love the way that dude runs a football, man. I mean, he runs angry, he runs physical, but he's got some wiggle to him. It's kind of like, Josh Jacobs-esque. You know what I mean? Like, he's running with a purpose. Ah, man. It just makes me wonder, like, gosh, we have a number of guys in this roster. You can't tell me that, like, none of those guys just really, I mean, like, there's times where some of them kind of have moments, but I don't know. It's kind of baffling to me that we don't have anybody really that just, like, plays a position like that. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like the backs that we have, it's not like these guys were like, highly recruited guys in high school. If you go watch their stuff, I mean, it was there, but it's just, man, just a little disappointing how it's kind of transpired this season. But I hear what you're saying. I don't see them necessarily doing it, but if there is a back like that, maybe you lean into it. I will say, I mean, it is clear. I mean, this staff, I mean, they like weapons. They like offensive guys. So I wouldn't be shocked if you see a couple of those. Let's flip the script real quick, right? I got another question. Who do you guys think we could see depart? Who, you know what I'm saying? Because we got to consider that aspect. We're talking about all the additions, right? The imports. What about the exports? Who could we see going out? I mean, just think about that because we got a number of players now that like last year, we talked about the retention and guys hanging around, and I think it was a little bit different because it was like, all right, going from year 1 to year 2, the guys had a lot of optimism, a lot of expectations that, hey, man, like, I can, prove myself, earn some opportunities, but there are a few that I feel like just didn't really end up getting many, and some of those guys like Jalen Hale, we hadn't really seen him at all, and I know he's coming off of a gruesome injury, right, that he suffered in practice. But I mean, I've seen him behind the scenes, and I mean, I would say, I mean, he looks pretty solid. Now I know he's still probably, not maybe 100% maybe in terms of just because sometimes like when you have a really bad injury like that, like you can be back 100%, but take some time to it takes a little time to really get to feeling it again. But I would argue like back in the spring when I was watching him, he looked good to me. But we haven't seen much of him. Cole Adams, some return action, but that's really about it. I mean, but we've seen him. I mean, he was at one point labeled Mr. Reliable by the receiver coach himself, Coach Shepard. Hadn't had many opportunities. Jalen Mbakwe, a guy who did enter the portal, then came back out of it like a day later. Hadn't really seen him get opportunities. So I just wonder if you actually this time around, because I know some people speculated that a number of those guys were going to leave going into the season, but they didn't. I wouldn't be shocked if we see a couple of those guys end up leaving this time around. Which, I mean, it's part of it. It's part of the game. And you can't really be too mad at it because if you look at we just talked about it. I mean, Ryan Williams will be back. Latsier Brooks, he's going to have a big role. Meadows, he passed those guys up. Because think about it. It's not like, oh, you only saw Horton, Bernard, and Ryan. No, I mean, you saw other guys, but you see Brooks and you see Meadows. They passed some of those guys up. So I can see some of those guys going maybe back or so. Richard Young, I see in the chat. I don't know. I feel like Kevin Riley could stay. I mean, Kevin Riley's a homegrown guy and good player too, man. But I could see maybe Richard Young. Probably could see that. Let's look at on the defensive side of the football. Anybody come to your mind, Chase? I'm trying to think on defense. The thing about defense, I feel like we rotate so much and play so many guys over there. It's probably a little bit less likely to have certain players. But I don't know. Let's see if you guys got any other ones. Everybody's really just leaning towards Richard Young on that one, man. So I don't know. Let's do this. We'll stay on schedule. Let's hit a timeout. We come back. We'll have a few minutes where we're joined by Clint Lamb of Cover Crimson at the top of the hour. We'll talk Alabama, Oklahoma. We'll dive into that. Then I think we're pushing Slade to around 12:30. So second hour, we'll get him on here. But might have a moment in between those two guys to squeeze some calls in on this Talking Tuesday, but I'll keep you guys posted. Right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Don't go anywhere. We're just getting started. Quick timeout. We'll be right back. Wait, now they're trying to fire the running backs coach. They try to fire every coach, man, when something's not going well. I mean, remember everybody was trying to fire Roach the last 2 years, not even just everybody was saying Roach needed to go. And I mean, defensive line is one of our better groups right now. Well, I would at least say most improved. I mean, but to be fair, they are probably one of our better. I mean, you look on the defense side of the football. I think our secondary, without a doubt, is there. I would have said initially, I probably would have said secondary, defensive line, and backers. But I feel like the backers have really come along too. I feel like everybody's playing pretty solid football right now. Do we think the 5-star linebacker Griffin can come in and make an immediate impact? We have a couple 5-star DBs coming too. The only thing I think about him is depends on how quick he can bulk up and get a little bit bigger and stronger. Because I think right now he's like 210, 215. I mean, playing linebacker, I mean, you can play it. You see a lot more linebackers that are smaller in stature, but you also got to be strong, right? You got to be able to hold up. But I think he definitely could come in and have an impact, but I think the size of that impact might depend on how quick he can get bigger and stronger. Compax, que lo que, ¿cómo has estado? McIntyre, what's that say? McIntyre both portal out of tie doesn't go to league. Whoa. That's a hot take, Jake. I don't know about that. Both? Nah, that wouldn't make sense though, right? Because then, I mean, if one goes, then the other one might as well say, "Hey, that's just my job." Oh, you're saying if Ty doesn't go to, so Ty would be back? Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Still though, no, I don't think both. I mean, I think if Ty comes back, if one's going to leave, I think it'd be Mac. I think Keelan will be okay waiting another year. I mean, because he's redshirting this year, so next year would truly just be a redshirt freshman year, and really they'll make sure they get him some snaps next year. And then if he's not if when he's a starter the following year, if Ty did come back, he has a great year. I mean, he could leave as a redshirt sophomore if he really wanted to. I don't think. I mean, I don't think he ends up leaving, but best believe he's going to have some offers though. But you already know they'd take care of him. They would take care. That's one of their guys. They would take care of him. Cam Howard could transfer. Wait, who is Cam Howard again? Or what position? DB, right? 12's job next year. If Ty leaves, I think it is. If Ty comes back, I think let Ty take that job again. One more year. I know people are like, "Oh, what are you talking about?" Listen, if a guy comes back, I mean, it's technically his job to lose. I think it's just a much shorter. If Ty comes back, it's going to be his job to lose, and then the leash will be much shorter. And welcome back into the Talking Tuesday. This is the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's art support experts, man. We're talking about a little roster. I guess we're playing the role of GM, man. Think about who's out, who's in, all that good stuff. And speaking about some of these guys and some accolades, real quick, I just pulled this email up because I was checking to see if we had any app message. We got some accolades rolling in for a couple of our players. Bray Hubbard has been named AFCA All-American as a safety, and Caden Proctor also named an AFCA All-American at left tackle. I want to see. Oh, is it? Wait. This is Proctor's third All-American distinction, so shout out to him for that. I was trying to see if it was like first team, second team. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, so shout out to those guys. So Proctor and Bray both being named All-Americans via the AFCA. Real quick, I mean, we got a couple minutes, and Jake brought this point up, so I am just curious about y'all's thoughts on this. We talked a little bit about it the other day, but in terms of the portal, if Ty comes back, who are y'all banking on it? How do y'all see that playing out if he comes back? Again, I know we hit on it a little bit, 2 days ago, something like that? Yeah, no, we weren't on here. Maybe it was last week. I don't know. I just personally feel like if Ty comes back, it's Ty's job. He has a short leash, but then you got Keelan right there, chomping at the bit, and probably see Mac transfer. Chase, what about you? How do you see that playing out? Well, let me ask you this. Do you even think Ty comes back? Let me start there.
Dang, that's a tough question.
Yeah.
I think Ty comes back. I think he's not satisfied with how the season went this year. I think a lot of people had high hopes for him being in that upper echelon of going the Heisman, being those candidates and stuff like that. But I do think it shakes up the quarterback room for next year because a lot of people are riding on, like you said, Mac transferring. And then it really puts a lot of microscopes on Keelan right behind Ty. But I think it is, like you said, it's Ty's job to lose. And I don't think it's a bad thing if Ty comes back. I think it motivates Keelan even more to prove to the coaching staff, hey, like, I'm ready. Put me in. You'll see that on A-Day and throughout training camp and get him ready for the first game of the season. But I don't know. Do you think if Ty comes back, Christian, do you think it boosts the offense, or do you think you'll see the same thing you saw this year, or maybe he reached his potential?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I'll say like this, and it might be an unpopular opinion, but some people probably they look at how he's played the last few games and they immediately say, "No, no, we want to jump straight to Keelan Russell," and I understand it, but I would argue that you never turn down a guy like Ty coming back, and here's why: it has nothing to do with um, loyalty or no, 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 no. This is from a football perspective. If you look at it, man, the teams that make these runs, man, they typically have veteran presence at the quarterback position. That's an important factor. And I would just argue, I mean, like as quick as we are to forget, we got to remember. I mean, Ty had a stretch through the middle part of the season where he was playing the quarterback spot better than almost anybody at the position, to the point where people were saying he could potentially be the number one overall pick, not just a first rounder, but number one overall pick. And I get it. I know pundits and people sometimes jump to conclusions. Hell, myself, I mean, I've done it before too. But I would argue that when you look at Ty's play, I mean, he can get back to playing at that level. And I think if he were to come back for another season, I think you would bank on him playing like that. I mean, you look at the competitor that he is, you look at the mindset that he has. I mean, I would argue he would be a much better version, or at least a much more consistent version of himself. Now, we had this conversation. It was a good point. He could come back and it could look a little bit more like Garrett Nussmeier, right? Who had a regression after coming back. I'm not saying it's guaranteed that if he comes back, he's automatically just going to take that next step. But I'm saying I personally would be confident knowing him on a personal level and knowing him as a football player, that he would grow more if he did come back. And I think scouts are probably going to start recommending him consider that for sure. I think if he decides to leave, he still, without a doubt, will be considered as probably one of the top 5 quarterbacks in this draft. Part of it being because of what he did in the middle stretch of the year, showing that potential. I think the other part being it's a weaker quarterback class. That said, like I agree with what you said, Chase, in the fact that I could totally see a world where he's not satisfied with not only, how his season, transpired this season, but also maybe with how the team ended up finishing the year. And knowing him, the pride that he has, all that good stuff, I could see him coming back to school here. And I don't think you would ever say, no, we don't want to come. No, I get Keelan Russell's there, but I strongly feel like Keelan Russell, he's a mature kid. I personally think, I don't think he would be, I mean, I'm not saying it'd be easy for him, but again, with him redshirting this year, next year would only be his redshirt year. And I think they would, again, like I said, have a short lease also, to just remember that, and still try to get him as many opportunities, knowing he's going to be like that true backup that we might need at some point. So it's not like he'll just be sitting on the pine the whole time for a whole nother year. I think he'll have some opportunities in the meantime. And then by year 3, I mean, he would be fully ready to go. And it's going to be the Keelan Russell show, where I think he would just blow up and have that type of year. Because I think it could serve him well too, if he's able to kind of trust the process. But again, this is all hypotheticals and we're just talking about it. That said, we got to hit a timeout. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more. We'll do that with Clint Lamb of Cover Crimson. We'll talk Alabama, Oklahoma, talk about this roster, number of things going on Alabama football-wise. And then we'll try to get Slade on here probably around 12:30 if that time slot works out better for him as well. You're listening to the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Quick timeout. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
WTBC.
Mel Kiper has them top 5 quarterbacks for 2026. Bringing back Phillip Rivers might influence him to go to the league. That's what I'll say. I mean, he's still going to be a top 5. I mean, like, contrary to what a lot of people probably think, given on, how he's looked the last few games, he still is going to be regarded as, at least probably one of the top 5 quarterbacks. And we know in this league, I mean, everybody's in need of a quarterback. So if you're a top 5 quarterback, I mean, depending on who needs one and what the draft order is, I definitely could still see him being a late first rounder. Could be a second round type deal. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. What about the go-ahead touchdown against Auburn on the game-winning drive? Oh, in the game-winning drive about South Carolina. Yeah, and listen, if you go back and look, man, he's got even in the past few weeks where he hadn't played his best ball, he still displayed some high caliber throws, right? I mean, you turn on the tape, I mean, it's not like everything just disappeared. That's what I'm saying. I mean, he could return to form. In NFL personnel, they're going to understand the lack of the running game doesn't help, but they will point out some things. Timing might not be there, not trusting something, decision making. Like there'll be things that they definitely can critique and nitpick. However, you guys got to remember too, man. The NFL. I mean, the way the draft works, it's not about who has the best stats. I mean, it's about who they feel like can translate to the next level the best. That's why you see some guys that have these all-American stats and statuses. They end up being mid-round picks, late picks. And then you got guys that played 1 year college football and don't really have crazy numbers that end up being, high first-round picks. You know what I mean? I think when they look at Ty, they're gonna weigh all the things, right? They're going to say, hey, well, we watched him when he's operating well, when his timing's well, the checks that he's able to do. He's a smart guy. He can read these things for us. They're going to look at that, and they're also going to look at, hey, he holds the ball too long sometimes. He doesn't make the best decisions. He tries to force things sometimes. And they'll look at that. But I think at the end of the day, I mean, if he decides to leave, he should – I don't see him going past the second round personally, given the status of this quarterback draft. I just don't see it. They'll probably question the deep ball accuracy 100%. But you guys know how it works, man. Tape is like the number one metric or the factor that they're going to pay attention to. Then you got to look at the combine, right? They're going to meet with them. They're going to sit in those he's going to kill the meeting process where they're quizzing you on the board and the tape and all that. I mean, he's going to kill that process. You know what I mean? So there's going to be things that work well. I'm sure you probably run pretty decent. I don't know what his 40 is, but I think he's a pretty good athlete.
200 or click on.
Got some stones on. I don't agree that he's not a playmaker. I think the play call and lack of executions alter people's view on him too much. Yeah, no, I feel what you're saying. Like, I think he's definitely deserving of some criticism for sure, but you're right. Some of that falls on other people. And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store. America's Art Sport Experts, where we're now joined by our buddy Clint Lamb of Cover Crimson, like we do every Tuesday at the top of the hour right here on the Miller's Edge. Clint, welcome in, man. Hope you had not really a week off. I know you're working around the clock, but we didn't have a game last week. But hope everything's been well with you, man.
Yeah, how you doing today, Christian?
Man, I can't complain, man. We've been talking a lot about really this roster. We hadn't even got to dive into the Oklahoma talk. We definitely plan on doing that with you. But we were talking about Josh Ford, the pickup from Oklahoma State, one of the earlier transfer portal pickups. I guess I'll start there real quick because I know you cover a lot of this stuff. Have you had a chance to really check him out? I haven't really been able to really look into him much. I see these 6'6", 265. You got Cuevas on the way out. I know we brought in some tight ends earlier in the year, probably some more depth pieces, but I didn't know how much you knew about this guy. And if you did you see him being more of like another depth option or more of a guy where they view him as probably come in and compete to contribute in this offense pretty soon?
Yeah, I definitely think he's a big body guy. He's physical. I liked what I've seen on tape. Now, granted, I haven't watched a lot of his 2024. He played a lot more. He started the first 4 games in 2025, elected to stop playing, preserve the red shirt, and enter the transfer portal. So he'll have 3 years of eligibility, but he got a start in the first 4 games. He averaged 45 snaps a game. I think had the second highest snap share amongst Oklahoma State offensive players behind only the quarterback. So, and he started, I think he played in all 12 games his freshman season, his true freshman season. He started about half of them. He's kind of been that tight end one for Oklahoma State since he stepped on campus. And like I said, big, physical, wide inline blocking option, exactly what you look for at that position. Very, not the same skill set based off of what I've seen necessarily, but kind of what DJ Dupree and, I would say more so Dupree than Robbie Utes. What he provided Alabama's offense as far as being a sneaky pass-catching option, but really providing a lot of physicality and stuff out there on the perimeter of the edges. That's something that I think Ford could end up helping this team with. Now, I don't know what's going to happen with Danny Lewis. He's been in and out of the lineup all season. I would fully expect him to be back next year and to be that starting inline option. So to say that Josh Ford is going to be a starter necessarily, I don't think that's a guarantee. But if something ends up happening with Danny Lewis, Caleb Edwards is a big body guy as well. I mean, when you start talking to, 6'6", 264 pounds, 6'6", 265, you can do some things with those types of players, but they also got more of the complementary pass catchers like a Marshall Pritchett, Max Sutter, the 4-star borderline top 100 recruit. He's going to be coming in, brings that pass catching element, but also has some inline ability for the future. But if he's going to contribute as a freshman, will probably be more so as a pass catcher. So I really like this move. I think he's really important to what Alabama's going to want to do as far as being more physical at the point of attack, being able to run the football a little bit better. We've talked about the offensive line extensively, but I've always made sure to bring up the fact that I don't think they're getting the run blocking from the tight ends that they got with C.J. Dupree and Robbie Yates last year, and I think that's made a little bit of a difference. Now, it's understandable. Cuevas is more of that move option, not as big, not as physical, but really reliable as far as the pass catching side of it. And then you got a true freshman in Caleb Edwards who's still learning the ropes as far as playing in the SEC. But either way, they just haven't gotten out of that position what they've needed to from a blocking standpoint. I would fully anticipate this type of move to really help that on top of Caleb Edwards, getting more experience and getting more physical or stronger in the offseason. Then also maybe Danny Lewis also being a part of that and being healthy next year would certainly be numerous steps in the right direction.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. And I had a chance to kind of see about a minute of his highlights. And that makes sense, what you said about him sitting out. Is I looked at it and I was like, he had limited, production in 2025, but I didn't realize he sat out. So that makes sense. But yeah, no, I think he definitely will come in and compete to contribute definitely early. And we know how much these tight ends are utilized in this offense. Clint, while we're talking about roster and players, I can't help but wonder, are there any other positions that you feel Alabama will address via the transfer portal? I said linebacker, I think, is probably the glaring one. I mean, you're losing all three guys. I know you got some young players like QB Reese you're excited about, but we know, I mean, especially Mike and just how important the linebacker position is. Preferably, you want some experience there, maybe even like an interior guy on the defensive line. Are there any other positions, even offensively, that you feel like Alabama is definitely looking to address via the portal? Maybe offensive line? Anything stick out to you?
Yeah, I love what you said about the linebackers. This feels very, I don't even remember, was it 2022 maybe 2023, whenever they added Tresman Marshall. A lot of people, they looked at Jahad Campbell and they looked at, some of these guys that Alabama had recruited at off-ball linebacker, and they thought those will be the next guys up. But Nick Saban really wanted the experienced guy there, someone that could end up, being that field general if you needed him to be that physical experience, have the physical experience that you needed to hold up in the SEC. That's something that I think they will probably do is mix the young talent that they have that I know that they really like, on top of maybe adding a guy to the transfer portal, in the Kai Hill-Green type of player, if you can get that type of player, to really shore up the experience side of things where you got a balance of talent and experience going into 2026. But the offensive line is definitely where I would start offensively. There's no doubt about it. I think that based off of, you're probably losing Caden Proctor. I think right now, we all have high hopes for Jackson Lloyd. He's a true freshman. He's still getting bigger and stronger. Love the athleticism. Love his fit in the offense moving forward. But I don't know that you can necessarily bank on that. If you brought in a Tyler Steen type of, offensive lineman who has that experience and let him compete with Jackson Lloyd, if Lloyd ends up being good enough and that left tackle that you bring in or tackle in general is kind of showing up things on the right side, you could always move Jackson Lloyd over to right tackle and then kick Michael Carroll inside the guard, which I think he would be excellent at as well. So I think that that's probably your best bet, because you've got to have more options at tackle. Right now, it's really Jackson Lloyd. It's Michael Carroll. Maybe you could, if you had to, you could go to a Wilkin Formby. But outside of that, it's like, a lot of guys who are probably better guard options, like an Ola Salinen, Arko Enigwam. I think he's still just way too raw. I would need to see a lot of development from him before I would be comfortable putting him out there against SEC edges. So, yeah, the offensive line, particularly at offensive tackle, I wouldn't be shocked at all if Alabama targeted at least one really experienced, really good player. That would probably be a priority if I had to guess, because I love a lot of the young guys they're bringing in the 2026 recruiting cycle. All of them have a lot of upside as tackles, but they're also not guys like a Michael Carroll who you're going to anticipate coming in and immediately assuming some sort of massive role. So you've got to make sure that you've got adequate play at that position. and really start making some improvements on your offensive line. I think that starts to tackle.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And we always talk about how important the trench play is. And I would argue a lot of our problems could be solved if we address some of those things up front and just get as much help as possible to make the quarterback's job, some of these skill guys' job, a lot easier than it has been, not just this year, but in recent years as well. We're joined by Clint Lamb of Cover Crimson, like we are every Tuesday here on the Miller's Edge. Clint, now on the other side of things, right, we talk about the additions. Now we got to talk about potential subtractions. Any names that come up? I mean, I'm not saying we're trying to cast these out there, but just if you had to say, hey, there's a chance you might lose some guys here or there, any positions or guys that you might say maybe be on the lookout for could potentially be entering the portal? I mean, I know we've asked the chat. They think maybe Richard Young or some of these receivers that have gotten a little buried, like, some of the younger talent like Meadows and Brooks. Anybody that comes to your mind that you might think could potentially be on their way out of Tuscaloosa?
Well, typically I've refrained from trying to drop names. I understand why people do it, and there's some that you can look at. You can say, that situation would make a lot of sense based off of how things are developing, what they're bringing in. But I just, I never want to usher or help these guys out the door or, granted, it's not that I'm, sticking my head in the sand and ignoring that possibility. But I do think right now that there are guys. I mean, when you talk about the play of Dijon Lee stepping up as a true freshman, you talk about the way that Daniel Hill really started to emerge at running back, and Kevin Riley kind of came out of nowhere early in the season, and you're bringing in a Xavier Crowell. There are a lot of positions you can look at and say, potential departures are certainly, possible. And when you look at like wide receiver, that's a position. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they ended up losing a couple of guys there, because the only guy you're really guaranteed to lose is Jeremy Bernard. You could get back Isaiah Horton. You could get back Ryan Williams, Rico Scott, Lacia Brooks, Derek Meadows. A large number of your guys who are in the top part of your rotation this year could be back next year, and you're adding a five-star caliber talent like a C.D. Morgan to that room, who I'm not going to guarantee that he's going to be a massive part of the rotation from day one, but he's exactly that type of body that can come in and really help you from a size and length perspective with that ball winning ability kind of downfield. So that would be another potential guy. Wide receiver is one where I wouldn't be shocked if they lost some guys running back. I mean, I think with the fact that they added a Xavier Crowell and then they added another one late, that kind of told me that they might be expecting to lose a little bit more than just Jam Miller and Dre Washington. So I don't know who that might be. It could end up being a couple guys. I think if they lost a couple to the transfer portal, I think you would have to start looking at maybe adding someone else like a Dre Washington type of player to kind of fill out the depth in that room. But yeah, it's going to be quite a bit of turnover. I say quite a bit. I think they're going to do a good job of retaining a lot of the roster, but there's absolutely a couple of positions you look at and say, I mean, just how things are working out and where these guys are starting to get in their careers, I could see, definitely a couple of them leaving.
Yeah, no, I definitely get that. Yeah, we're trying to play a game of addition, subtraction, trying to see how things play out. But I definitely respect what you're saying about it. Now. That I was like, yeah, I don't want to seem like you're like, oh yeah, I think this guy, and putting words out there, because nowadays when people run with anything that they hear, so you got to be careful. Yeah, I completely understand. No worries, bro. No, that makes perfect sense. I want to ask you this now. Alabama's back at practice, right? They've had some media availability. We've heard from a number of players. Coach DeBoer spoke yesterday. I believe the coordinators are set to speak today and I think tomorrow as well. But Clint, when you see this Alabama football team getting back to practice, a number of guys getting back to work too as well, there's been a number of injury updates. Looks like Jam Miller's back getting some work, and I feel like he looks a little ginger still, but hopefully he'll heal up a little bit more as the week progresses. Cuevas, I think, trending in the right direction. Where are you at when it comes to this playoff rematch? We had Josh Pate on the show yesterday. Now he took Oklahoma to win the game. He said it's just hard, as you look back at the last two games before this one, the defensive masterclass that Brent Venables has been able to put on and find ways to force these turnovers that have been critical moments in these football games. But in terms of the injury updates and just Alabama getting back to work and what you've heard from the press conferences, where's your head at? Where's your head at given this playoff matchup? Alabama's going on the road. It's a tough environment. You got to play at Norman. And it's going to be the third time these teams meet in the last 2 years. And unfortunately, the first two have not gone great our way.
Yeah, I'm looking and I'm saying I understand this on the road, and it's a lot tougher to be a tempo team on the road from a communication standpoint. And I know that hadn't been really Alabama's offensive identity this entire season. It's just not been how they've operated. But as far as the problems that Oklahoma presents defensively, as far as giving you one picture pre-snap, giving you something else post-snap, making Top process that information. And, while putting him under duress or under pressure, I just think that's a losing combination. At least right now it is. It's going to be a hostile environment. There's going to be added pressure. And it's like, one of the ways to kind of prevent defenses from doing all of that is to go tempo where they don't have a lot of time to show disguised looks. And they're kind of reacting quite a bit to what they're seeing and processing that information on their own. I'm not saying they're going to go tempo. It would kind of be an out of left field type of approach, but I kind of look at it in the same way that Oklahoma's offense threw Alabama's defensive curveball in 2024, where they came out there, did a lot of stuff that Vanderbilt had done as far as the quarterback run, getting that involved with Jackson Arnold. And while they didn't have, a ton of success offensively, and while they didn't have hardly any success in the second half, they did enough early on to really shock Alabama, and Alabama's offense really didn't have the ability to overcome those things. And I think with Oklahoma's struggles offensively and the fact that Alabama's defense is really good and maybe could even throw in a couple of added drives or possessions for you if they can force some turnovers, which they weren't able to do in the first matchup, then, I think that could be a winning combination for Alabama, just to kind of throw something at them that they're not anticipating, really try, like Todd and those 2-minute offenses. We talked about it all year. A lot of fans have been, clamoring for them to do more up-tempo types of things. And I understand that's just not how they've really won. But I would think that in this type of game, to kind of counteract what Brent Venables and Oklahoma's probably going to want to do defensively, and the fact that I don't think that they would be anticipating much of that, that's something that I would try if I was them. When you look at really the guys who are going to be back, you're 100% right. I agree with you. I made a comment on our show last night saying the same thing about Jam. Yes, he's back. Yes, that's great, but he doesn't look to be 100%. He's moving a little, as you described it, gingerly. But Parker Brailsford should be a lot closer to 100%. Having Cam Dewberry back out there, I think he has provided some stability at left guard when he's been healthy as of late, including against Oklahoma. Wilkin Formby and Michael Carroll, that combination on the right side, I think that's provided a little bit of stability. And now that you've had a couple of weeks to kind of, focus in or hone in on that offensive line group and let them kind of play together, hopefully that will lead to a little bit more consistency and success against Oklahoma's, very good, very stingy defense. So it's going to be a tough test. There's no doubt about it. You got to win the turnover battle. But I definitely think that Alabama has the ability to go into Norman and come out with a win, regardless of what's happened in the first two matchups. So it's going to be a fun game for sure.
No, it definitely is. And I think everybody's going to be paying attention to those critical things you mentioned with the turnover battle. I mean, I think field position battle is something we've got to be much better at. I mean, if you look at the recent games, the games that we haven't played great in, I mean, whether you even go back to South Carolina, just giving these teams good field position, then we're also on the flip side starting with bad field position. I think that is something that could be cleaned up and definitely help us out tremendously. Because it is interesting. I mean, I know you guys, I think, posted on y'all's Cover Crimson page at one point, but like comparing the numbers between the two, and even I got the box score pulled up just right here. I mean, Alabama had success in the game. I mean, I know everybody points it out, but I mean, it's true. I mean, it was one of our better rushing performances with a net 80 yards. I mean, without the sacks from Ty Simpson, it probably was pushing 100. He also was 28 of 42 in that game. I mean, outside of the turnovers, I mean, we played relatively well. So I think that is a reason for Bama fans to feel confident, just knowing, though, it is going to be on their turf on the road. And that's the only thing, Clint, that kind of concerns me, just knowing what comes with that, especially for an offense, knowing that, hey, their guys like R. Mason Thomas, who looks to be back, he's going to be able to potentially, time snaps because, when this loud crowd noise, you're typically going on indicators and things like that. Communication could be affected. So that is a little bit of concern for me. Is that something that you think the crowd noise in the environment, do you worry that could be not necessarily a deciding factor, but do you think that could end up really playing a big role here, or are you not too concerned with that?
Yeah, no, I definitely think it could play a role. There's no doubt. They got to be able to handle that, which I think at various points this year, Athens going against Kirby Smart and that Georgia defense, hostile environment, good defense. It was a tough situation. Missouri, maybe not to the same extent as Athens or Norman, but it's a respectable place. That defense certainly got after Ty and got after the offense. But, they did find some success. And I just think it's so important right now. I don't know if it's tempo. I don't know what the game plan is going to be. But I think that if you can put Oklahoma on their heels, no one else has been able to do this against them. I watched Missouri play them when, Alabama really needed Oklahoma to lose. LSU, their offense really struggled. Oklahoma's did. And yet the opposing team's offense, they did nothing to really position themselves to add pressure to that offense. I don't know what it is early, but I think you need to have something cooked up early to really try to, put the pressure on Oklahoma's offense where you're not just going to be able to rely on your defense today and just kind of coast and it's going to stay close and there's never much pressure. You're going to have to go out there and actually score some points offensively because the offense jumps out on that Oklahoma early and then turns around and says, we're not going to turn over the football. We're going to be smart with how we play this game. And kind of, if you can do that early, you can really start to lean on your defense. And I think if Alabama's able to do that, I think they're going to have a lot of success. But it's just a matter of if they can get that done offensively or special teams. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a block punt like Georgia did. Maybe it's, there's a number of different, ways that you can get it. But you've got to be ultra aggressive early in this football game and, try to, get out to an early lead if you possibly can, because I don't think Oklahoma has been under that type of pressure much, if any, this season. And I don't necessarily think based off of their offense that they would respond very well to it if they were put in that situation.
Yeah, and I agree 100%. I mean, just watching their offense, man. I mean, that's definitely their weak point. And I mean, defense has been playing great, and I think we just need our offense, like you said, man, to find a way to start fast. Put them in some tough positions and see if we can get a leg up on these guys. I just think the longer you let it play out and you let their defense kind of give them hope or stay in there or force plays like that, it just makes things a lot longer. And then we need to find a way to get some explosive, something we hadn't had a whole bunch of this year, really, even as of recent, right? If you just look at the explosive numbers, man, we don't do a great job taking the top off the defense right now. So hopefully we can make explosives from underneath, whether it's screen game or just getting Ryan Williams and those guys of football quick and let them make plays after the catch. I think that could be big as well. Clint, there's something I just remembered this. I wanted to ask you last week. I know we were running out of time. We got a couple minutes real quick, so I wanted to ask you now that we talked about the Oklahoma game and that matchup this Friday. Speaking of Ty Simpson, everybody's trying to figure out how this whole thing could look, and I threw out this question like before the season started just for the heck of it because I thought it was kind of interesting, and now it actually is kind of coming into fruition, unfortunately. You got a situation where you had Ty Simpson playing probably his best ball in the middle stretch of the year. Last, half of the year hadn't been, his greatest showings, but nonetheless, I mean, he's still probably going to be regarded, especially in this quarterback class, as I would say probably a top 5 quarterback still. Even, with some of the performances we've seen as of late. That said, I would not be shocked if Ty decides to come back to school and get some more experience and run it back one more time before making that jump to the next level in the National Football League. So I got 2 questions for you. Number one, and I know you don't like predicting stuff when it comes to players, but just so you don't have to answer this one if you don't want. But let's just say hypothetically, Ty does decide to come back. I guess my question is, how do you think this whole quarterback thing ends up playing now? I'm not saying you have to say who leaves or who goes, but do you think there could be a little bit of a tough situation here if Ty is kind of weighing that decision to come back? Then you're trying to think, hey, we got Austin Mack, Keelan Russell. Do you think that could be not an issue, but just like a dilemma in a few weeks or whenever that time might come? Or do you think you're not really worried about that situation at all?
Well, yes. I mean, I would say that is a potential problem, no doubt. Just because kind of before the season, the thought process, I was really high on Ty Simpson, really high on him. And I kind of, what we saw in the first half of the season, I think that even exceeded my expectations, but I wasn't shocked by that at all. I thought it could be based off of the system, based off of what I thought was going to be around him, the play caller. I thought he was going to be in a position where he was going to be one of the better quarterbacks in college football. The thing that I said as far as Keelan Russell, a lot of people thought, hey, if you don't start, you got to start these guys. You got to start Keelan Russell right out the gate as a true freshman or he'll transfer. The data didn't support that. There were a lot of really highly regarded highly recruited guys who are 5-star recruits who stuck around for a year, were willing to sit. Now, if it gets into 2 years, then it starts to become maybe a little bit of a bigger problem. So my argument was and I described it maybe as like a worst case scenario. I wouldn't know that I would call that worst case scenario now necessarily, but what I said was the worst case scenario would be if Ty Simpson was good enough to where he's going to be your automatic starter going into 2026, but he doesn't end up being good enough in 2025 to move on to the NFL. And that's exactly kind of what's ended up happening. Now, I still think he could come out and he could still be a first-round draft pick. I still think NFL evaluators are going to look at what he does and how it translates and think, man, this guy needs more time, but if we can give him some time, maybe a Los Angeles Rams at the end of the first round with Matthew Stafford and McVay over there, I could see that being a perfect situation for him. But, at the same time, he probably needs to come back. I just don't think, even if he had continued to do what he had done, at the beginning or in the middle portions of the season, I still think that it would have been possible that NFL evaluators would have been saying, we love it, but you need more time. Otherwise, you get a Mitch Trubisky potential situation where he's kind of a one-year wonder and you really don't know what to expect, getting to the next level. And there's been some swings and some misses on that front. But at the same time, what does that mean if Ty ends up coming back? I really don't know. I think obviously Austin Mack would be the more immediate danger, even though a lot of people are going to freak out and they're going to look at more so Keelan than Austin. I think it's possible that Russell would be willing to sit for another year. If he felt good about the system and his place in it. I mean, you never know with these kids. And I think that he fully expected and anticipating sitting for a year. Maybe didn't expect to, but it is going to be something that Alabama's going to have to weigh those things. And with Jalen Milroe, I kind of said this. I don't necessarily think that he was just super inclined to want to go to the NFL. Part of me thinks that Alabama went ahead and kind of started using, some of the NIL funds that were dedicated to him because they weren't sure if he was going to go to the NFL, and he wasn't really a schematic fit. They were putting that in other places, and so it was kind of one of those situations where it's like, we hate it, but like we don't have the ability to bring you back. And then he was in a position where it's either transfer portal or it's NFL. I'm not saying Ty would be put in the same situation, but if they feel like Keelan is exactly what they want and they could get more out of him in 2026 than Ty, which I'm not saying that's how they look at it. I'm saying if they did, then it's possible they could say same situation with Ty. But what I will say is that to me, there's a reason they brought in 2 quarterbacks in this 2026 cycle. You don't do that if you were expecting to have all 3 players back in 2026, and then you're going to have 5 quarterbacks. I know that Kevin DeBoer said he'd love to have 5, but 4 is like a luxury at this point, in my opinion. So I think they fully anticipate one of those 3 guys, bare minimum, to be gone in 2026.
That's a good point that you made. I didn't think about that. I mean, the decision of bringing 2 guys, and you're right, that is probably anticipating that at least one guy will be gone, because that is a lot. That's a lot of scholarship quarterbacks, especially in today's day and age, to have in one room. So that's a good point there. And we'll definitely have to say, it's funny you said that, because I was saying the same thing in terms of that situation. That would be interesting to see how it would play out if it did work out this way, which it seems like it's kind of trending that way, which might not necessarily be a bad thing. Because I'm with you. I actually don't think I think Keelan would probably be okay, just because he's their guy. He knows that, and he's developing behind the scenes very nicely. And I wouldn't be shocked if, say, he was still here, they would give him a number. Listen, I think this year with him definitely being a redshirt candidate, you had to be a little more limited with things in terms of trying to get him some opportunities. I think it'd be a little bit different next year if he comes back knowing that that's not really in the equation, and they'll probably make sure he gets as many opportunities as they can. And I'm sure the leash might be a little shorter at times with Ty if that was the case. But again, all hypotheticals, but I just was curious your thought on that, because I know it's been brought up a lot more recently with, just how things are trending. But Clint, I won't hold you much longer, man. I appreciate all your time, and I appreciate you joining us every Tuesday, man. Hopefully when we talk next week, we're talking about the next stage in the playoff system after a win over Oklahoma and Norman, man. I hope you have a great rest of your week. Are you going out there, or are you going to be covering it from home?
Going to be covering it from home, and we'll get to enjoy, at least the good part about our profession is we can take some of our stuff on the road, so we get to enjoy some Christmas time with the family. So definitely looking forward to that. Looking forward to watching Alabama on Friday. And once again, Christian, I appreciate you as always, brother, and I look forward to next week.
Yes, sir. Sounds good, man. Thank you, Clint. We'll see you then, brother.
All right, sounds good.
Yes, sir. Good deal, man. Clint Lamb, our friend over at Cover Crimson. Make sure you guys check them out if you haven't already. Cover Crimson on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that good stuff. At Cover Crimson on X and at Clint R. Lamb is his personal one. You guys already know Clint, but if you haven't, for whatever reason, man, check them out. Definitely. They do a lot of great work over there, and we appreciate him joining us on Tuesdays. We got to hit a timeout. We come back, we respond. Plus, we got Slim Slade Bolden in the cut. He's joining us next right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
Tuscaloosa Mazda, they are expanding their showroom to serve you better. Come see their new and pre-owned Mazda lineup, offering fuel efficiency,
let me find Slade. Wait, where's Slade go? He's on the screen
Tuscaloosa
somewhere.
Mazda, 3100 Skyland Boulevard East, or online at TuscaloosaMazda.com.
Hold on.
So you need...
Hold on, we got to move. Sorry, Todd. We got to move you out of the way real quick. We got to get there. We go.
Love it.
For $20.
All right, there we go. We got it. All right, we got it. There he is. What up, Slade?
What's up, baby?
Man,
stash looks good. You got what's that hat now? That hat.
So listen,
that's sweet. Now
it's called. It says Dale Tide. So I don't know. I don't know if I told you, but I've been learning Spanish for 2 years now. So I
really,
yeah. I speak Spanish now. But anyway, so I was like, man, I kind of want to merge the two things I got going, like football, Alabama football. Then I'm passionate about Spanish. So I was like, man, I gotta, get some Spanish Alabama stuff. Like it'd be dope. And so I just made this hat. It says Dale Tide. It basically is Dale. Like there's a number of translations, but basically, it means like let's go. Like it's kind of like that sense. If you translated Roll Tide to Spanish, it wouldn't really make any sense. So it's kind of like let's go Tide, but I don't know.
It's like what would someone's Spanish speaking person say Roll Tide if they didn't speak English, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, they probably would just say honestly, they probably just say Roll Tide because I mean, if there's not a definition, they normally just say the English one. But I was like, I got to be different. I wanted to kind of just be different, and I like it.
I can't even tell.
Yeah, people are always like, wait, what's that saying? I'm like, it's Dale Tide. It's like, yeah, Roll Tide. Like, as a matter of fact, one of my friends that helped me learn Spanish, he comes in here. He was in here earlier. He's from the Dominican Republic, but like Dale is like, it's like a common phrase. It can mean a number of things, man. But one of those being like, let's go.
Love it.
Yeah.
And it looks like it looks good. Like it's close to roll.
Yeah, so that's why I did that. Because you could also say like vamos. Vamos is literally like let's go. That's like the actual translation. So like you've probably heard, right? Like people say vámonos.
Yeah.
Like, that literally means like let's go. But I was like, vamos Tide just doesn't really flow. Like Dale Tide that actually flows and it looks kind of close to Roll Tide. So I was like, yeah, we'll do that one. So I just threw it on a hat. I was like, screw it, I'm gonna wear it.
Hey, it looks clean, baby. I like it.
I know. Might need to drop some merch, man. Some Hispanic Alabama merch, even though I'm not even Hispanic. I just learned the language. I just learned Spanish.
I mean, we're going for Zorro right now. I mean, we're looking. You can pull it off. You start speaking Spanish, I don't think anybody's going to second guess.
¿Quiere que habla español aquí? ¿Puedo hacerlo si quieres?
I have no idea.
I just said you want me to speak Spanish right here. Just let me know. Yeah,
So you're really like you're bilingual.
Sí, en serio, sí. Sí, hablo español con fluidez, pero no diría que voy mejorando, pero sí. En 2 años, llevo 2 años aprendiendo en serio.
Yeah, Cristiano Miller.
Yeah, no, listen.
I love it.
I'm not going to sit there and act like a perfect, like, I still mess up at times, but no, like, yeah, I would consider, I'm fluent. But like, if you ask me if I'm like at like a hospital and they're like, oh shit, man, this patient needs you to describe that he's got like a torn ACL and he like, I see now, like that's out of my, but see, I just have to learn the vocabulary for it.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, no, I mean, I speak it every day, but I speak
awesome.
with like people on this app to practice.
That's cool.
I love how like 5 people dropped out of here. They're like, oh, we don't hear that Mexican shit.
You ain't lying either. That's exactly what was said. That's funny. We didn't even talk one word of football.
And
love
welcome
it.
back into this Talking Tuesday. This is the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Art Sport Experts. All right, we just wrapped up with Clint Lamb of Cover Crimson. Big thanks to Clint, who joins us every Tuesday. Always enjoy doing that. Does some of the best breakdown work you can get, man, especially when it comes to Alabama football, man. So make sure you guys check out all the great work that he and his crew does on Cover Crimson on all the platforms, YouTube especially, podcast stuff as well. But now we're joined by our next guest. We got Slim Slady in the building. Slade, has been a minute. I know we just were chopping it up about the whole Spanish thing, which is all great, but I ain't trying to run people off here. But tell me, man, how's everything going, man? I know you had the trip up to Buffalo. It looked fun. It looked like you got the whole experience, like it looked like the tailgate thing that everybody talks about, like jumping on tables deal. I mean, how was that, man? Tell me.
I checked all the boxes, man. Well, first off, it was absolutely freezing. I mean, it was cold, but we expected that, right? And that's if you were to imagine the perfect Bills game, obviously, like it'd been cool one day to play there, right? Play in the snow, right? It'd be great. But it was cool just to experience it with some of my buddies. One of my good friends that went to Bama, his dad's family's originally from Hamburg, New York, which is right outside or 10 minutes from the stadium. And we're right there where everybody gets together to go tailgate. And it was really fun. Obviously a great game against the Bengals. Just came down to the very end, and it was really amazing. The snow was out. Everybody was in their full on ski suits but decked out in Bills gear. So it was cool.
Dang.
But it would have been better if Saturday, the day before, would have been a better day. It was
damn,
tough.
I forgot we didn't wait. I don't think you've been on since then. During the week, we did a little post game action. We jumped on here and talked about it.
Yeah, I wonder how many people got to listen to me talk because
no,
a long cool Saturday for your boy. And let's just say I was at my buddy's dad's. They have like a little, not really call it speakeasy, but they're like club of, it's just a bar. You go out there, they hand you buckets of beer. It's actually a really cool little spot. So we were sitting there and obviously watching whatever that was on TV Saturday night. So yeah, I was a little heated. But
hey, listen, I think a lot of people were frustrated.
Yeah.
I mean,
a few beers didn't help either.
I mean, listen, that always contributes. But to be fair, I mean, it was one of those games where, I mean, it wasn't just you lose a game. I mean, we got our ass whooped. I mean, it was what it was. It's hard. It's hard watch, man. I mean, it's a hard watch. I think everybody agrees with you. Then, tell me, where's your headspace now as we approach this Oklahoma matchup? We earned a playoff spot. Some people were kind of concerned. You had a couple former guys saying they didn't think we earned a spot in the playoffs. But I mean, I think when you look at the total body of work, I think it made sense. You couldn't just leave Alabama out. But where's your headspace now? I mean, how confident are you in this Alabama football team to go on the road to Norman, Oklahoma, and face a team that has now had their number twice in the last 2 years? Because remember, I mean, even last year we went on the road there, that wasn't a pretty game either. And this one we played better. I mean, statistically we did well, but turnovers and whatnot. How are you feeling about this one, Slade?
I really don't know. It's kind of hard to put a feeling on, just because if based off what I saw and what we saw in the last game that we played, I do think we're probably better than 4 out of the teams or whoever. We're better than Notre Dame. I'm trying to think if there's any other team. Miami, yeah, I do believe that we are better than them as a whole body of work, like you said. Based off the last game, as a kind of like, oh, we don't deserve to be in just because how we played. It is tough to kind of sit here in this new world and look at that game and how that production and just the body of work we put in that game to say that we're going to come out and dominate for the playoffs. Look, I knew that we both talked about it going into the SEC championship. It was going to be tough for us because of just some of the injuries we had. Playing a good team twice is never easy. I don't care who it is, especially Georgia, and we've experienced that before. So it was going to be a tough game. Obviously, we can go on and on about the things I'm sure that you've spoken about on why that what should have happened, what we didn't do well, which was a lot, and what we could have done better. But I am very optimistic about going into Oklahoma this Friday, just because it's hard for them to beat a good team twice, and we are a good team. So
Yeah.
it's like, hey, let's
Flip the script on
be
them.
right. Let's be the Georgia. Let's be Georgia in this situation. And I think obviously having a one game under your belt against the team, you kind of figure out the weaknesses, and you understand their strengths and how to attack them. But then again, look, they figured us out too. So I don't know. It's just going to be such a challenge. It's such a weird. I'm still trying to figure out this playoff situation, and why it's better, why I don't think it's better, and compared to what we're used to. And it's going to be unique on how you're preparing for a team that has beat you twice, once at home and once on the road. Yeah, it's going to be definitely a challenge from schematic purposes, from just players in general. How do you not let the moment get too big? How do you forget about the last two games when it comes to getting beat, and just treating this like it is just a first round playoff game? No matter who's on the schedule, they're going to get this work. So it is a challenge, I think, overall, for all levels, from the coaches to the players and to the scheme, and what we're trying to do to exploit Oklahoma, and take advantage of the opportunities that will present themselves. But I'm optimistic, just because I do believe that it is tough, no matter how good you are, to beat another good team twice in the
Yeah.
same year. I mean, that is a challenge, for sure. But it is not like it's been that long since we played
About a month.
Oklahoma, yeah, and got beat. So that was similar to us in 2021, where we beat Georgia in the SEC championship, and turned right around in 3 weeks and played them in the national championship. So that is kind of probably the closest similarity that I see. But now, obviously, I believe we're kind of the Georgia in that situation, because they beat us first this year.
Yeah. No, and then if you look at it, I mean, this is a box score from when we played them, like you just
Yeah.
mentioned, just 3-4 short weeks ago. I mean, you look at the numbers and you just go back and watch the tape. I mean, Alabama was moving the football pretty
Mm.
well. Now, I will say, don't get caught up too much on the numbers, because I think, yes, if you look at it, we were able to move the football, but we had a number of plays that were in that game. One of them, there's a bust on their end in the secondary. I know we ended up having to play underneath. I think it was like a delayed kind of action to Cuevas.
Yeah.
I think we might have scored off of that. Again, moving the football, but I think if you look at the numbers, it's easy to think, oh, well, it wasn't easy, but we did find ways to have success. I'll word it like that. That to me sounds better. Ty was 28 of 42. He threw for over 300 yards. It was one of our better rushing performances. But again, we know that the turnovers are costly. The field position thing, that always seems to haunt us. So that's going to be interesting. Number one, can we recreate the success that we were able to have in this game? And two, can we limit the turnovers and the bad field positions that we were put in or giving them in these last couple matches? But I'll say this, Slade. I think people also have to remember, it's easier said than done. It's easy to say, hey, we just got to limit the turnovers. Well, let's go back and look at how the turnovers were forced. Keyword forced. I think some people summed it up as, hey, we threw an interception and he fumbled. Well, it wasn't just he threw an interception. It was they ran a simulated pressure. They had great disguise. Dude broke hard as hell on the football. Nowhere to go. Ty had to try to get it out because literally they got the scheme that they wanted up front blocking wise, and he just made a bad decision then. Ryan Williams had the ball punched out, right? I mean, it wasn't just like a fluke. I mean, the dude literally Peanut Tillman punched the football out. So you're going against an Oklahoma team that they're aggressive. They play fast. They play physical. Defensively, we know of all the things that they do pre-snap, get to something different post-snap. It's going to be difficult. Now you're adding the element of going on the road, knowing in that crowd, in that environment, their best player who was an edge guy, he's going to be back. You can imagine. I mean, I know how this works. Starting to try to jump, snaps and understand, right, those indicators, because when it's loud, you're changing the cadence. It's going to be a little bit different. So it's going to be an uphill battle, but I'm with you. For some reason, I just have a feeling, and I hope this feeling is right, that we come back from the week and a half of rest that we've had since that game. We have a bad taste in our mouth from the SEC championship game / last time we played them. just this resurgence of, hey, man, like, we got to get back on track because it's now or never. I mean, if we lose this game, it's off to Cancun. I mean, these guys got money now. These guys got NIL money.
They might be.
They're on winter break
might be
too.
Real now.
if not Cancun, well, I know they're going to Miami.
Going somewhere warm.
They're going somewhere warm. It ain't going to be Miami for the championship game. They might be in Miami, but it ain't playing if we lose this game. They might be doing some other stuff down there, some excursions.
They're going to treat it like Super Bowl week, where all the players that obviously were on teams that didn't make the Super Bowl, they come there to do
that's what it is now, Slade. These
Yep.
guys get paid now, Slade. Listen, hey, that's what it is. It's like mini NFL. Best believe they're not playing in it. They will be down there. They will be down there renting cars, hanging out in some night. But hopefully we're not down there in that capacity. Hopefully we're down there suiting up, strapping up like we did in 2018 when we played. Matter of fact, we played Oklahoma in Miami my senior year in 2018, which was a great game, by the way. Great venue. They did move us. Yeah. They moved us to the other side of Miami because last time we were in Miami, not going to say any names, one of my teammates who played my position, a couple of them actually, decided to make some decisions that had them sent home on a Greyhound. Slade, real quick, I'm gonna do this.
Greyhound, that's tough.
No, seriously. And then that story was wild. I wasn't on the team at that time, but just hearing about it, it was very interesting. We got a call from one of our buddies, KJ. I want to take him on because we haven't taken a call yet. And I mean, I'm sure you can answer anything he's got. He's cool, man. He's got some familiar contacts, some familiar friends. So we'll bring KJ on here real quick as we got Slade hanging out with us. KJ, welcome in, man.
Yo, how you guys doing, man?
We're just kicking it, man. Can't complain.
What's up,
Hell, you might have run into the Slade a time or two.
Yeah.
So, you were talking earlier about who may leave, and I kind of wanted to kind of play like a role play aspect of it, pausing the role play, but where I'm the agent of the client, and you and Slade can both be like, represent the school on why. I want y'all to, because if I just say, hey, this player should leave, the whole fan base is gonna be in the comments going crazy.
Oh,
so
hell!
I want to give you guys a chance
I know what's coming
to defend that. So my claim is my client Ryan Williams should leave after this season is over with. Basically, for me being his agent and his marketer, based upon because next year would be his draft year, and with seeing the new addition of your best friend.
Wait, hold on. Wait, whoops, my bad. Go ahead, KJ. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Ryan Grubb. Yeah, remember I'm Roman. Yeah, Ryan Grubb. Now he's on your staff, and to me, it seems like he doesn't have a affinity for Ryan Williams at all. Oh, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I got you now. You got him, Slade?
Can y'all hear me?
No, I can't hear KJ.
Oh, hold on. I got him here. I was over here twisting a whole bunch of stuff around in the layout. I can hear you, KJ. Slade, you can't hear him?
Mm-mm.
Hold on one second. All right.
I'm talking now. Can you hear me now?
You hear him?
Can you hear me now?
I don't.
Oh, that's weird. All right. So I can hear you, KJ. I'll just relay it to Slade. Don't worry. I'll just relay it to Slade. So go ahead.
Okay. All right. So basically, my client has school immediately after this season because, next year is his draft year. His production has went down. He's become the laughing stock. I see fans laughing at him. I see people on social media and big platforms talking about where is he at now. So now it's become a distraction, and now it's actually hurting his claim to get to the NFL. So I'm going to go with Lane Kiffin. I know Lane Kiffin's going to give him the ball. He's not going to be playing whatever it is what you guys got going on. And thank you for the money that you guys have, imparted in him. But it's the best decision for us to go ahead and take the money and go elsewhere.
Wow. Wait. So all right. Now we're in this play all together, and so me and Slade are in the front office of Alabama. What you want us to respond to that wild claim you just made?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, what? I don't know. Okay, hold on. Let me step out of the role play situation for a second. Like you said a whole bunch. Slade, I mean, you look, you ready to say something? You can go ahead.
Yeah.
Have at it.
Well, if I was in this scenario as whether a DeBoer, Burns, or Trip Smith over our collective, whoever I'm playing in this scenario, as much as I respect and do believe that Lane Kiffin is a really great coach and is probably going to do some really good things at LSU. I would look at it as, man, this guy has left what 3 or 4 schools. Now, most of the time it is for a better opportunity. FAU to Ole Miss. Obviously, that better opportunity being the head coach at Ole Miss than FAU. But when it comes to Tennessee to USC, if I'm not mistaken, USC to Alabama, and then obviously there were some probably personal issues along that line that Lane would experience that probably moved him to different schools. But I would look at it like, look, we've been loyal to you. We have instilled so many things when it comes to NIL money, to our schemes, trying to just get you the ball and put you in the best situations to better, accelerate your career and your opportunities in the NFL, to showcase your skill and what you can do to get your draft stock higher. You're going to a place that there's a lot of what ifs, right? And you don't think that Ryan Williams, are going to be the only receiver that Lane is going to have come in. You don't think some of his guys at Ole Miss that he coached are going to transfer in, where he has that loyalness to them, that he has promised them a certain amount of receptions and a certain amount of yards. And then also the fact that, hey, like, you're going into a program that is a little messy. You may not be able to get the amount of NIL money that we've already promised you. Yeah, they're saying that Lane's going to get all this NIL money, but where do you think all that's going to? Do you think that's just going to you, or just going to the guys that he's promised from Ole Miss or from other schools, trying to build this new program in the way that he feels best? And like, hey, do you even think that you will fit in Lane Kiffin's offense? And who's to say that, just like he has not really switched up on, or has, not been as loyal to a certain team, what do you think he's going to do? What is his word going to mean to you when you get there? So that's how I would approach it if I was in that position, saying like, hey, like, look, everything that we've done, we put you and we put our best interest in you, and whatever your best interest is,
but I was about to say, but let me chime in. I'll say this. I'll play a little bit of an devil's advocate here, because I agree with what you're saying, Slade. But to be fair, as of recent, he didn't have any targets against Auburn, right? Yeah. And I would argue that, to KJ's point, I would imagine there probably is some tension or frustration or somewhere, whether we want to admit it or not. I know people don't want to hear that, but I'm sure there probably is a little something.
I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying no. To keep it. Yeah. I'm like, I'm just like, hey, don't leave.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm not saying I'm right.
I'm a lie.
Hey, I'm not saying
it wasn't lying. It's just, saying. Listen, y'all not here. Listen to what he said. He said he hadn't even seen a lick of Joe Burrow. Told the man, "Oh yeah, you the guy."
Y'all really.
I mean, you gotta
really say like y'all lying to kick.
No, I'm not lying. I'm just saying, if I was in that position, everything I was saying, I do believe in, but I'm not saying that I don't know what goes on, in the locker room, in the team meeting room. The reason why he hasn't got the opportunities that we all believe he should have, and why he hasn't performed to the expectations. I don't know all those intangibles, but from what I've seen over the past 2 years, that would be my approach. But then again, like, who knows what's going on? As much as I'd like to sit here and say that he's not leaving, you never know. And it's just the new world that we're living in, unfortunately.
Best believe if it even came, I don't even see that coming up. But if it came to something like that, best believe they would make sure he is he's taken care of. I'm not talking about it financially. I mean, that part they've already, I think, probably figured that out and can, continue to do. I'm saying more so on the football field level. I think they could probably come together and understand, hey, he's going to be needed, and they can get back to having him much more involved. I just think, unfortunately, there's just been a lot. I mean, you got Jeremy Bernard playing some great football, Isaiah Horton. At least one of those guys is gone. It could be both. You never know, but you know what I mean? So there's going to be a lot more opportunities back again for Ryan Williams, and I think him coming back next season, just being able to go in the offseason, polish a lot of different things that he probably could work on. Because I think we got so caught up on, not just we, I mean, I kind of understood there's more than just the highlight plays, but getting back to some of those fundamentals, I think will go a long way in helping him develop and getting to be the Ryan Williams that we know he's capable. I hate to do it. We got to close out on radio at least. We'll sit on here on the stream for a couple more minutes real quick to wrap things up. But KJ, I appreciate you calling in, bro. Good to hear from you, man.
All right. Lane train.
Okay.
Right,
See, look at us stirring the pot before he leaves, man. Typical troll behavior, man. I'm just playing. We love KJ. Appreciate everybody on the Talking Tuesday. Big thanks to Clint Lamb and Cover Crimson. Big thanks to Slade. Again, we're going to hang out on the stream for a couple more minutes real quick. So if you guys are hanging out here, don't go anywhere. But we got to get out of here on Tide 100.9. You got Wyatt coming up next, getting you guys covered right here on Tide 100.9. This has been the Miller's Edge, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's art support experts. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
You've been listening to the Miller.
Sorry, Slade. Yeah, we had to rush up out. Chase, I appreciate you, bro. Yeah, look at KJ stirring the pot. Nah, but seriously though, if we're not role playing though, this is my thing about the whole Ryan Williams debate. Like, listen, there will be people that will probably offer him that, and I'm not just talking about financially. Listen, people can offer him all this financial stuff. I mean, you know how much money that dude makes in like actual NIL and you know what I mean, and what he's getting paid now. I mean, like, best believe it, he's taken care of. But in terms of like, hey man, like you'll be our premier receiver, you know, without a doubt. You know, we're running the offense, everything's gonna run through you, this and that. He's gonna be told that. But I think if I'm him, man, like number one, you gotta be careful. This, like you said, you know what I mean. You don't know how things will work out. And two, like I don't think, like, yes, I think there's things that could be done to help him out a little bit more. But I think on the flip side, I truly think, man, he just personally, I think he needs to look in the mirror and work on some of those fundamentals and things that could make him an even better football player. We know the potential that he has, and we know how special of a player he is. But it's no different than what me and my dad used to say when he first got here. Like, you got to go back when it comes to running routes, right? Catching the football. Like, you played the position, Slade. I mean, like those things matter. Like the little details matter. And sometimes when you're a player to his caliber that has been this guy your whole life and you're dominating on the high school level, like the reason my dad and myself were very adamant on, hey, well, you just have to see how it translates. And a lot of people thought my dad was being a hater. It was like, watch what he's done. He did this in the Under Armour All-American game. And it's like, that's great. And I think he's going to be a phenomenal football player. But still, you don't get press coverage like in high school the way you're going to get in college, where you got real dogs, on the line of scrimmage, where you have to understand how to beat that. The hand technique, the hand combat. You know what I mean? Like the coverages that you're going to see, where there's so many different levels to college football and the NFL versus high school. And so I just think if he could go back and fine-tune those things, I don't think it matters if he's here. I don't think it matters if he goes somewhere else. This offense, they want to throw the football. And they've got quarterbacks that can do that. You know what I mean? I just – the only thing with the whole him not getting targets thing recently, I think personally the way the coordinator thinks is, he's kind of struggling right now. We're going to probably go to the hot hand, whatnot. But while I understand that, I also think you don't completely go away from a guy to that has that type of skill set. Hell, even if it's just as you saw in the Georgia game, China route, just run some rub routes that a guarantee. Boom, give them the ball quick. Run somebody a clear out, get somebody to clear it out, get them the ball quick to the flat, whatever. Boom, let them make plays after the catch. I think that's what he needs, and that will help get his confidence back up. Personally, I think that'll help.
100%. And that's one thing, like I would never knock, guys people that commentate or analyze sports, or sports writers, or, I would never say like, oh, just because you didn't play the game, you don't have, your opinion doesn't matter. I'm the first to tell you, like everyone, there's some really good people that talk sports and break down sports, whatever sport that is, that never played the game. I'll be the first to tell you. Because I know there are some, I know Ryan Clark's one of those people that, because you never played the game. It's like, no, dude, everybody deserves an opinion. And, sometimes, just because I'm a player, you're a player, our opinion is not as good as the others or whatever we're saying. But That is, I think, kind of what your dad was saying. That is one thing. Like I believe playing the game, you do kind of have a better understanding on that it is different, obviously at different levels, and understanding how like that game translates. I do obviously see that what your dad was trying to say, and you what you and your dad talked about. That makes a lot of sense, and it did translate to an extent, right? But I do kind of see what you're saying because a lot of I feel like the big plays that Ryan's had, it's been more open field or not as necessarily contested stuff, not down the field, but more at the beginning of the route, the beginning of the play. You
Yeah.
know, him being able to finish, high point the ball or get the ball in his hands, making people miss. I mean, he's so elusive, so dangerous. And we were doing that. I really thought that we had a couple plays here. He had a couple plays there at the beginning where I was like, okay, we're starting to see those flashes of Ryan Williams of old, being able to make things out of nothing. You're making people miss his little spin, which is so
Oh
nasty.
yeah.
Like all those things. Like, okay, we're getting him rolling. That's because that's what we've talked about before. Like, get his confidence back up, getting those little swing passes, the little tunnel routes, the now routes. Just allow him to have the ball in his hands and just be the dynamic player that he is. But
Yep.
then you go to the fade, right? Okay, well, he is contested the whole way on that route. That's a challenge for anybody. And dude,
Yep.
I'll be the first to tell you, I was nowhere near the talent of Ryan Williams, but you got to perfect. Like I've said this so many times. Shoot, I've used this in the business world. The Ryan Williams, he's got to look himself in the mirror. Like, okay, what are my strengths? Right? What my strengths are this, and that. Okay, if I continue to try to work on my weaknesses and I'm not continue to keep my strengths and what makes me great, my strengths are going to start to dwindle down to average. And if I work my weaknesses to become average, then I'm just an average player. Obviously, his average compared to my average, two totally different things when I was at my prime, which I don't think I ever had one. But I
No,
do
come on.
think like he has to realize, okay, I got to keep my strengths, and that's my playmaking ability, being able to high point the ball, being able to run good routes, but also along the way, let's understand, hey, okay, I know I'm not as good at maybe getting off the ball or winning the route throughout man coverage, like
Mhm.
the whole route. So and that's where it is a challenge. Like he's a challenge as a receiver, and especially with the pressure that he probably puts on himself and the people around him put on him. I'm very understanding kind of where he's at. It's very tough, as fans now. I'm a fan watching. It's easy to point fingers or it's easy to call out miscues, but there's a lot of things that are probably going on internally, not only between him and Ty and Grub, but also probably in his own head. You know what I mean? It's a dangerous aspect that can really hurt your playing ability. Because I remember my last year, I was planning on leaving. I wanted to leave, and I had set my goals for the year. Boom, 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 boom. And I would go out playing. Oh, I gotta get to these goals. I gotta make this play. I gotta get to this amount of yards and receptions and touchdowns for this game. And I wasn't playing the game. I wasn't having fun, and that
Mm.
affected my playing. So I think I had to actually real quick, not to just keep talking about myself, but
No, you're good.
I had a phone call with the kid. He's one of the most talented young quarterbacks that I've ever. He was throwing me the Duke in 8th grade and was spinning it. If anybody don't know what the Duke is, that is NFL ball, and like was just
Mhm.
spinning it just as good as I've seen college guys and some NFL guys spin it. I mean, he's super talented. He's gonna have a great career, but he's going into his state championship in Oklahoma, and he was like, "Man, I've always been confident. I've always been locked in, but my coach brought me in and had basically told me, "Hey, this game is going to depend on you and your ability to make plays with your feet. We're adding more pressure to what he already has being the quarterback." And I was like, "Dude, like I told him exactly what I just said about how I try to put too much pressure on myself and I wasn't playing my game. I was like, dude, just trust your preparation, trust your ability, and go out there and have fun at the end of the day and play fast. Because when you start to think about all the outcomes, what it takes to get the outcome you want, if you think about it, it's not going to go the way you like. So that's what my, I guess, advice to Ryan, and how I had to internally look on myself, because I remember like towards halfway through the end of the year, I started playing better, which I always felt like I did. Obviously, more games, your eyes get a little better, your visual awareness, all those things, your confidence builds up. But I felt like when I just started coming out here, I'm playing a kids game, and I guess at that time I kind of was getting paid, but not like these guys. But you get paid to play a kids game that you love and you've grown up loving for your whole life. Hell, we still both love it. Why would you not have fun? Why would you not go out there and play, uh, play loose, play fast, and just have fun with it? And like, look, this play didn't go the way I wanted to. Okay, well, best believe that next time I get the opportunity, I'm going to take full advantage, and they're going to wish I hadn't gotten one. So I think that's one thing that Ryan, a lot of guys, you just gotta, yeah, as much as we want to be just, hard asses, go out there and dominate every play, man. Like, yeah, like you do have that mindset. You gotta have some swag, you gotta have some confidence, you gotta talk a little crap, but sometimes you just gotta have fun, man. Like, cause like this game is fun. And when you stop playing fun and you stop having fun, that's when you don't play as well.
I agree 100% with you. And sometimes I used to always compare it to feeling like robotic. Uh, as much as I love Coach Saban's system and the way we play defense, the truth is we weren't allowed to play as free as we would have in other systems. Now, to me, I was okay with that sacrifice because we had results, right? I was okay. Maybe I'm a little more restricted on, the pass rush moves I can use, my flexibility in terms of, hey, man, like I'm a lighter guy. I'm more fit to be a 9 technique, right? That's putting me in a better position, but that's not the integrity of this defense, right? The integrity of this defense is for the jack to be a 6 technique. That way I can, be strong in the C area, squeeze down, close that gap up, and hope that the ball gets kicked for the linebackers that are scraping over the top. That was our philosophy. That's how we played defense, and it damn sure worked. So I was not one to be sitting there complaining. That said, there are times where I know what you mean. Like I would think, and my dad would tell me, like, man, like you just got to cut it loose. And I'd argue with him, like, bruh, listen, I can't. Now, you know what I'm saying? Like, listen, I'm in a hand and foot technique, 5 technique. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have to play this tight. I have to rush to the quarterback, after stopping the right. I have to stop the run first. You know what I mean? I have to honor that. On this 3rd down, I'm in jet mode where my ears are pinned back. I can widen my alignment, and we're working the game, whatnot. That's different. 1st, 2nd down, run situations. That's not I will be right back off this field after I waited 3 years working my ass off to get on here. If I start doing that, that's not an option, unfortunately. But let me ask you this, like, because like I got this pulled up real quick, and how much time you got?
I'm good. I mean,
I was about to say I'm not gonna be long. I had this SEC championship pulled up. I'm just curious. I wanted to see, like, have you like paid attention to Ryan's routes at all? Have you really like? And if not, no worries. The reason I ask is I'm just curious that sometimes I just feel like, and I don't. Again, I'm not.
It's hard to see from the the television view.
No, I was about to say. I figure. I mean, this is one of the ones where we do try to get him the ball. He's working what called China route. Whatever whip route.
Is that him coming in motion right there?
Yeah.
It's. I mean, that's a deep. I mean, that's like what
a whip
6 or 7. Route. Yeah, I mean that's 5 yards. That is exactly what you said. It's basically a return route, or he's selling that crossing and then boom, getting out. But what I would, just from the beginning of seeing this route, I think one thing, even though he's coming out of his transitions break so much better than most guys. Most guys take way longer. But what I always said, right, is the best receivers are the best deceivers. I don't think he's truly selling that shallow cross. He really has to sell it. Now he's so fast and so dynamic, so quick, he can get out of that and still get separation. But that guy's not truly attached to him. He's off, right? So if I'm Ryan, I'm really trying to get almost opposite of the center. Now there's obviously, I don't know what Grubb or DeBoer's telling him what his landmark is, because sometimes it's get to the tackle spot or get over the ball or get to the opposite tackle. So right here, it looks like he probably getting out around the tackle area. But if I was him, I'm selling because once you get close to the ball, that's telling the DB, okay, he's truly running a crossing route.
Right.
So if I was him, I would even come out more because now you see even more of lane separation between the flat with the running back and him, because you see how when he comes out, it gets a little tight. He probably wouldn't even have to make this move after the catch here. But that route, I mean, him getting out the way he did, and obviously his playmaking ability with the ball in his hands, his yak is really impressive. But I'm getting closer to the hash if I'm him. Like he really barely gets over the tackle here.
Yeah, you're talking about this hash.
Yeah, if I was him, I would just sell it even more before he's getting out. But then again, guys that are a little lighter, they start trying to get the hands on them, and they don't call it a lot of times because you're in that kind of 5-yard gray area. So maybe the reason he did kind of speed up his route here is so that he wouldn't get too hands on with that DB and possibly not even be able to get out of his route. So that's another thing you got to think about. But I do believe he probably could have sailed it another 2 yards, get closer to that hash, really sail that shallow cross, because obviously it worked because he's so quick and he got out of that return very, very quickly and efficiently. But
no, and that's why I
from a
wanted to
spacing
ask
standpoint, I think he could have done that better.
No, and see, this is why I'm glad I have you to ask this question, because, like I said, I can go off of, again, I didn't play receiver, but I mean, I played in coverage. I know from playing the game enough to kind of have an idea where when I watch guys like, for example, my freshman year, my tall, long, lanky ass was on scout team covering Amari Cooper, again, for scout team purposes. Clear mismatch, throwing the fucking ball every
It's a mismatch. A mismatch for everybody.
Yeah, right. Especially me. But I'm like, when I watch like guys like that or like Calvin, you know what I mean? These explosive. I mean, like the way those guys run routes, Slade, have been like,
dude,
like so explosive. I mean, I'm watching. Maybe it's something the water down in Florida. And the way these guys are driving their knees, and I'm talking about stop on
you hit it.
Like,
that is
I'm
it.
like,
it's the knee drive. So there, you go look at how Julio, Coop, Judy, and
Malvin,
C-Red, how those guys, and there's a lot of guys in the league that do that well. It's not the speed, it's the drive, it's their knees, and like obviously, it was hard for me to really get that knee drive just because how the Lord made me. Like my legs weren't as long. Like I couldn't get up like that. But it's all about selling the fact that it seems like you're full speed, but if you're going, you truly can't stop on a dime, no matter how impressive those guys can, because I swear they ain't got
doesn't allow it. Science does it. Yeah, the law of motion and all. Yeah, I trust you. You're 100% right, but it's the illusion of like when I see Calvin and those guys, like knee drive, man, it's selling it like, and then they're just settling that. Like to me, like I that's why. And the reason I'm asking this is because again, I'm not a route expert, but I played the game well to know enough to where I think he could be better in his routes. Personally, but I want to ask somebody actually play the position to at least confirm what I'm kind of seeing, because to me, it's like the athlete that he is, I feel like there's another gear that he could show, and I just feel like there's a lot of times I don't see that same drive that we're seeing, like that I've seen out of some of those other great wide receivers that I know help them in their routes. And I just was curious if you had seen that. Like I'll skip through here and see if we see some more, and some of them might not be intended. I know it's probably different depending on what you got. I don't even wait. He's not even on there. Let's see.
Yeah, and a lot of guys like Ryan have so much ability, and they're so talented that they really rely on that. Sometimes what's the old saying? Hard work beats talent. Talent fails to work hard. But I remember, like in high school, I'd go play receiver, and I'd get open, catch the ball, like because I was just decent athlete. I could run, and I was a little quick, and I could make some moves, but I was obviously humbled really quickly coming to Bama. There's so much more to route running that I was not exposed to. So I could not just rely on my ability, which Ryan coming in as a freshman compared to me coming in as a freshman was totally different players. I mean, he has all the ability in the world and the confidence and how to play the game. But he's a much better route runner than I was. I had to learn quickly. But, that's one thing, like maybe complacency, getting complacent with just what he is right now and not truly like Devontae Smith was one of the more athletic, talented, gifted players I played against. Yeah, the reason he wouldn't obviously he went to Bama. I mean, he was highly recruited, but he wasn't like, a top 10 player and, was because he was thin, that's on his own issue. But he continued to work on his craft every day, as in catching the ball, releases, route running, top of the route breaks, all those things that translated his ability to perfecting the technique. And then when you have that type of ability with great technique and great hands and all those different things, great route, like just that breaking each thing down from top of the route to winning the route in between your top of your break and your release, and also winning at the line of scrimmage, and then obviously catching the ball and finishing. You perfect every little thing within that route, or being a full complete receiver. His ability allowed him to separate himself because he worked on all those little things, and his God-given ability just allowed him to be better than most at those perfected little things. So I think that's where Ryan could. I think Smitty's a great person for him to mimic.
I think they got some work together, right? I think in the off season that
they at Murph's down in Tampa, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of people were kind of throwing that comparison out there, with similar body types and deal. But you're right when it comes to Smitty. You know what I mean? Like very fluid. I think the word I would describe him is very fluid, smooth with what he does. Would you call him a technician with how he does stuff?
Yeah, 100%. And I'll kind of steal some thunder from my receiver coach at Bama, Holman Wiggins, who's now shout out Coach Wig, the offense coordinator at A&M now. So he got promoted, but he always said flow like water, smooth as fast. So if you like another guy, Travis Kelsey, maybe not this year, but in the years past, like, yeah, bigger body, tight end, but man, he didn't run routes fast. It was just how he ran the route, how fluid he was, like you said. He flowed like water, and it was faster and more efficient and created more separation.
Yep. No, you're 100% right, because it's always funny. You wonder, like, man, why can this DB not cover this tight end? Not because he's bigger. I mean, yes, I know in a contested situation, sure, that's always going to be a challenge.
There's some physicality to it, yeah.
I'm like, if you think about it, like a lot of times you're like, man, this DB is so much faster. But they said it. I mean, those tight ends, man, the good ones, they're just smooth in those routes. The deception, right? They do just enough where they know. And a lot of times those are quick development type routes where that ball should be coming quick. Soon as they, decept one way coming out, boom, you're hitting them right there. But yeah, no, you're right. Guys like that are definitely very smooth, where you don't even have to be the fastest player in those situations. Yeah, like I said, I'm not going to hold you too long. I just was curious why I had you on here. We just happened to start talking about him. I was like, I wonder if Slade's had a chance to really see him again. You see his ability with the ball in his hand. This is my thing where, as a coach, man, if you're choosing not to find ways to again, and this is off of what a jet, right? Just a simple kind of jet type concept.
You got many players are doing that,
right? I mean, and that Georgia defender was in a good position, right? I mean, like, he's not normally what they want this guy to do is to be influenced by things going down. Normally, if he's really an end line type player, he would close down on this. So he's almost taking himself out of the play, which that's what you expect. But I'm assuming he might have been a dropper in this case scenario, and hence why he's already working out there. He's in good position, but because is just the athlete that he is. Quick little end around turns into what really should have been no gain. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
And he's still on the ground, man, dude. He's slippery, man.
It's crazy.
I just feel like you have to find a way to get that going, like, especially when the offense, like, if the offense had just been flowing the way it was flowing earlier on, I wouldn't say, we don't need to force anything. Don't sit there and try to force the ball to one. No. But the fact that we're stalled right now.
Mhm.
And then you look at this game, that was really about the only bright spot we had offensively is when he kind of was making stuff happen after that. And I know you can look, they'll start keying him if he's the only thing, but I'm just saying you have to. And I think that's where it comes in. Like coaching they have to find a way. And I know Grubb, I know how Coach DeBoer is. He allows his guys he delegates that responsibility to his guys. He lets them do their thing. But at some point, man, I mean, somebody's got that's my only thing I would say about DeBoer. Sometimes I think, even like with his staff, I think he could kind of, I feel like he could assert himself a little bit more. And again, that's not me judging. I'm just being completely transparent because I feel like if you're the head coach and say you're an offensive-minded guy at that, if the offense is struggling or stalling, yes, we know with you delegating responsibility to Grubb. I mean, yes, technically it's on him. But with you being the head coach, man, at some point you got to say, no, we need to do this. I personally don't, and anybody that I've talked to, just being honest, I don't think he necessarily does it like that. And I think that would help him if he could kind of get to that point where, and maybe, I don't know, maybe you trust Grubb's judgment more or something. I don't know. I think that would be beneficial.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I agree. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, I won't keep you, man. I appreciate you jumping on here. Hopefully,
yeah, I apologize for not coming on when I said I was.
No, I forgot.
I need to start sending you a calendar invite.
No.
So you accept it and it'll pop on my calendar.
Invite me to Salesforce or some one of these one of these things. Damn. Yeah, no. Well, I thought I responded and said I liked it or like confirmed, like, yeah, that's perfect. I think I just saw it.
No, you did.
Like,
you did. And I just didn't cross my mind. That's my fault.
Yeah, for some reason when I went to text you, I was like, oh crap, I don't even think I thought I did, or maybe I did. Who knows? But no, I don't.
It worked out. 12:30 worked out better, anyways.
Well, I was about to say it's perfect for us, man. So, I mean, what do you call this? Is this concept, real quick, Slade? I mean, obviously, we don't have the time to get it there, but is it? Do you think this is more of a clear out type deal? We're trying to just hit these check downs right here, or do you think he's actually?
No, I mean that's kind of. I mean,
Ty's getting a deep drop. I'd imagine he's at least trying to read it, but
it looks like we got verticals obviously on the outside. I mean, it's a cover 3 to it's pretty cover 3 look here just because you have the safety staying in that curl flat right here over Ryan running this deep crossing route. But I don't know. I mean, that's tough because it looks like man when he's coming in motion because he's staying with him and so he's okay. I'm going to run the deep cross, but it's really cover 3. So that guy middle of the field is going to be over the top here, and then you have kind of that linebacker dropping, and I mean no encouragement.
I think it is
their
covered.
Defense. It could be very
no, it definitely is
very unique.
No, 100%. No, but it does give cover 3 vibes. So the only thing I'm seeing that press corner up top is kind of interesting. But no, it looks like cover 3 with that backer taking 3 through.
Yeah.
Just tip like again. We always match stuff, so that makes sense. I just was curious because I know a lot of people say, "Oh man, all we have him doing is a lot of clear out stuff," and I just was curious if that was something.
It could be
a situation like that because it almost looks like like even with that deep drop that he's taking with his hitch, I feel like Georgia was playing it like this the whole game. Like they were giving us the shallow, and they're playing everything deep to short, and it worked out really well.
Yeah,
we didn't get anything.
They would give
up 4. They would take 4 yards giving up any day versus having to worry about these deep shots, which we hadn't really been great with anyway. But what are you about to say?
It was just it's a very unique coverage there. It looked like it was man to the boundary and then 3 to the field, which
that could have been
33.
I was about
7,
to say it could have been 7 because 7 you play Meg, which is like corner. Or excuse me, like corners Meg. What is I forgot what it stands for, but yeah, the corners and man, and could have been cover 7. Kind of gave vibes of it looked kind of like cover 3, but with that corner locked on like that, it might have been cover 7, which they play a lot of.
And then it looked like that backer to the boundary, like poached Ryan. Like looked like he was all right. I'm driving the curl flat window, but then again, I'm taking him because he's deep. So that's tough. Yeah. It's almost like a Tampa situation, but without it being cover 2.
But that's Georgia. That's how they'll play their defense, man. Like you're not going to get
exotic.
these basic. Yeah, you're not going to get these basic just spot drops or. I mean, with the pattern matching, it always kind of makes it a little bit more difficult when you're trying to decipher exactly. Just like, I mean, I'd argue this also looks like cover 3.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm pretty sure this actually is just cover 3. Well, let me see what's happening up front. But see, they're bringing the pressure though, so that's why. Again, I mean, the back end gives the illusion of cover 3, but literally they're bringing like 6 guys. So, hey, that's Kirby Smart for you. Best believe
No
Oklahoma's going to.
Yeah, and Venables. Venables going to throw some exotic stuff too.
No, he definitely will. Well, yeah, I'll definitely shoot if you want to hop on here whenever, man. Let me know. I know the game's Friday, so we we'll
probably do Thursday.
That, but yeah, if you want to jump on Thursday before we got 11:30, we got Rodney Anderson. He played running back at Oklahoma. So if you want to jump on noon or 12:30, just kind of final recap on the game, man. We definitely do that.
Yeah, I think noon would work great, and I'll definitely shoot you a text just to remind both of us.
That sounds good, bro. I appreciate you, bro. Good hearing from you, man. We'll see you Thursday, brother.
You too, Samuel. Appreciate you. See you.
Always,
Talk
bro.
soon, and God bless. Roll Tide, baby.
Yes, sir. Roll Tide, brother. All right, guys. Chat. Appreciate you guys as always. We're gonna get out of here. If you guys have it, man, just hit that like button on the way out. Subscribe, all that good stuff. You guys know the drill. Appreciate you guys. And we'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow, I think we might have Gray Robertson joining us. And then I just told you guys for Thursday, we got Rodney Anderson and Slade as well. So we'll keep it on rolling. I'll put up more Oklahoma tape tomorrow. We're just going to probably watch it a different way because I don't have our offense versus their defense anymore. I don't know where the hell it went to, but it's not on there. But we'll pull something out. We'll get back to some tape tomorrow. But again, appreciate you guys. Y'all have a great rest of the day, and we'll